When I was 9 years old, I did get dumped in a pool by an older dude, and he groped me. And I'm like, what the I'm like confused, like, why did that happen? Even my therapist, he was like, I don't think that that's smart or whatever the case may be. But I'm like, what do you know?
I think that hip hop needs to maintain their status.
We like to know that people go through.
Can we embed consciousness in it, or can they embed death in it?
Talking about the demons that comes with the allure. That's hip hop.
So it becomes frequency wars.
It's kind of fucked up, but we like that shit. Who says a group's supposed to stay together forever?
ASAP Rocky, he looked like the leader of it. How you deal with that eternal battle of being like, nah, I'm him?
It was always my journey, even in the beginning.
Meet Daryl Ferguson Jr., the man you know as ASAP Ferg.
Now stepping forward as Daryl.
His rawest and most personal album yet. From Harlem Street to global stages, he's broken records and carved his own lane in fashion and culture.
Do you feel like you know more who I am?
A person can say they're a demon faster than they can say they're a god.
Which is crazy.
People don't actually understand the things that they believe in, which is why they can't defend it, which is why they trigger when anybody challenges them.
I watch a lot of people die. Meditation is like you coming to the realization that you're here to stay.
A lot of men don't know how to tap into their dark side to control it.
How do I balance being an artist and a regular person? Like, you're always just smiling all the time, like, and I'm like, oh, you don't think I go through nothing?
Peace, family. It's 19 Keys. Thank you for watching High Level Conversations. We want to continue to be the best show in the world, so we need your support for that. So if you enjoy this conversation, if you enjoy the value of this channel and the rest of these High Level Conversations, please help spread the word. If you haven't already, please leave a 5-star review. And the best reviews, we will screenshot and post on our High Level Conversation page, and you will win one of many gifts that we have. We also need you to like and we need you to comment so we can be at the top of the algorithm. We're building out the platform that's going to take the culture forward. And every conversation is a piece of the puzzle so that we can elevate the consciousness of the world. Whether you're a small business or a big business, we have different packages that you can come in and help sponsor episodes so we can take things to the highest level. Now, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but if this is an exciting offer for you, then go to 19keys.com/HLC so that you can join the high level team. I appreciate you for being here, and I appreciate you for watching this episode. Continue to stay high level. Peace, family.
It's 19 keys above 19. The execution of knowledge is power.
Peace, family. Welcome back to another high level conversation. We live in a world where there are codes and there are keys to things. Right? There are frequencies. Some of those things can help unlock your DNA to where you operate literally at a higher level, right? Meaning that you operate where you express love, you express peace, you express enlightenment. And that's a completely different life. And then there are frequencies that can have you engaged in fear and insecurity and doubt and worry. Now you have to ask yourself, what is your environment, right? Now your environment is not just physical location. Right? It's the words that you express. It's the words that you hear. It's the music that you listen to. It's the music that you make, right? It's the people that surround you. So when a person is trying to produce a certain reality for themselves, they have to ask themselves, what are they consuming and how is that activating their DNA? Because our DNA expresses differently depending on who you are. Right? If you want to be great, you have to have things in your environment that help you unlock that higher vibration within self. But it's too many people that don't want to take accountability for their environment. I heard Will Smith say, the difference between 90% and 100% is a lot. Right? He was talking to his child about how you are a B student and being an A student is not easy. Right? You might have to change what you eat, who you hang around, what you listen to, and who you are completely in order to go to that next level. Today, we live in a dysfunctional society and trying to figure out why we're not operating properly, why we're not producing the wealth, the culture, the ideas, why we're not activating that God mind that exists. Because I can tell you one thing, the devil don't take a day off and he work overtime. You know what I mean? He worked the graveyard shift, he worked the morning shift. You feel me? He asks his boss for extra shifts. You know what I'm talking about? He stay on that demon time and he ain't gonna never give it up. And that's what he's supposed to do because that's his nature. My question becomes, what is your nature? What are you preparing for in life? I believe that each person has to go through a realignment, right? To get back to self. The whole idea about divine religions and spiritual teachings was to keep man aligned with who they are. Because sometimes we veer off the beaten path. It can be through meditation, right? It can be through just simple pondering upon things to where we sit back and we allow our mind to just think and reflect, right? And it can be through actual passionate focus and concentration to where we try to steer our mind away from other things, which is more so discipline. I've seen artists of our generation grow. I've seen the world grow and the exposure around that. I think artists have been limited so much from being real artists because they have to become products. And they have to sell products to people, which makes them limit the art. And then that limiting of the art means they're limiting the expression within their own DNA. That causes a dysfunction because then they're not working properly based on who they are. So I want to get back to the era of where artists are real art, right? To where they get to be who they are and they get to make a living, similar to like the Ikigai. You do what you love what you do. It's something that can benefit the world and you know how to make money from it. That's a full, complete story. Today's artists don't always love what they do. They don't even love who they are when they're doing it. I sat with my brother here who has an unparalleled ability to get people to function at a level of excitement and energy, right? When he walks in a room. You know what I mean? As soon as the music come on, the mind just goes up. The energy just goes up. That's very powerful, number one. Just through words, just through tones, just through vibrations, activating the DNA, right? When you think about the rest of the day, you're in an environment where that energy is low, right? And now I see it even in a higher form, where you don't even have to have the same pitch of music and talk about the same things, but the vibration is higher in the form of the condensing of the intellect that he puts into the music based on his realigning with himself. Because I don't see it anymore just about, let me create what's going to be the biggest or the most number one project to hit the billboards and all of that. I see it, let me create something that expresses myself, that allow people to unlock the same thing that exists within them. This new Renaissance age of artists is going to allow them to be able to love what they do on a deep, passionate level, right? And create an opportunity for people to have transparency on who they are. I wanted to sit down and have this conversation because when he played me his music in the car, I connected to it instantly. I connected to it because I didn't hear ASAP Ferg. I heard Daryl, right? Someone realigning to become the man that they know they are so that other men, right, can become that same thing and that fan base can grow. And I believe that every artist needs to make an album like the one he just did, where it's truthful, it's real, it's transparent, and it helps people unlock that higher vibration. So, y'all know who it is by now. I got my brother here. I appreciate you. The God, the light worker.
I can't wait to do this show.
Yes, sir.
Oh, man. How you doing?
Man, I feel magnificent. You know what I'm saying? You know, every time we sit down, I never know what the introduction gonna be. I just let it flow.
It's so crazy because I'm looking to see if it's any wires with speakers going into your ears. And I'm like, yo, he's just going. It feel like you just channeled that whole
yes, sir. 100%.
bit. You didn't even mess up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I think that's the art though, right?
Yeah.
It's when, you know, you get to a point where you're trying to say something.
Right.
And then you get to a point where you allow yourself to be a vessel for something to be said. So I don't have to know the next words. I just have to be open to be a channel for that.
Mm.
And I think like moments a lot of time when artists make a hit, it's not them trying. It's them being a vessel. Oftentimes it comes from playing around. It comes from just hearing something. What was that you just said? Damn. And then there's a deep intuitive sense that that's something I don't need to over question it. Let me just put this on a track. Let me capture this moment. And then when everybody else hear it, let me see how they vibe with it.
Right.
Right. And being in tune with yourself allows you to unlock, I believe, that highest level as an artist, as a creative, period.
Right.
You feel me? Let me ask you, where are you in your stage as a creator?
Where I'm at in my stage, I'm my most freest self. I feel like I'm super evolved when it comes down to in lack of words, no fucks given. Like when it comes down to you know, the ridicule or what people got to say or the system or the industry or whatever the case may be. I just feel like, you know, I've already done the records. I made hit records. I got multi-platinum records. I played that game. I wanted to highlight more the B-side versions of myself. The things that I always put into my work that has never gotten the shine and the light that I've always wanted people to take from the work. Because of how big work or New Level or Shaba or Plain Jane is like, this is a body of work. I'm an artist, I'm a human, I'm a son, I'm a cousin, I'm a family member, I'm a friend. And I wanted that to come through more as an artist with this album.
So you mentioned the word free. You know what I mean? What does that mean to you? And like, what does it feel like when you're not free?
So it goes back to like your intro when you said sometimes artists are kind of forced in this box when I forgot exactly how you worded it, but for me, free means like I'm not looking at any constraints. I'm not looking at the numbers. I've never really been a numbers guy. I'm not looking at you know, I took 4 years off.
Yeah.
I'm not really chasing a hit. I'm not chasing a hit. Like I didn't even try to make a hit for this album. I've been albums where I tried to like, you know, I tried to make hits and then that's when it doesn't come through you.
Right.
And then I also looked at what a hit is for me being a 36-year-old man. A hit to me is Pool, a song where I'm super vulnerable on, and you know, that's a hit that can hit the soul. And that's what I'm more interested in doing now is like really making music that resonate with people's souls because we all vibration. We 75% water.
Yeah.
So it's like when that sound hit our body and is shaking up the liquid in our body, that's the resin from that music that's left in us that rings that bell that make us want to wake up and listen to that song again because of the way it made us feel or the visual it gave us. So I just want to continue to do that the same way Barry White did it, the same way Quincy Jones did it, the same way Miles Davis did for us, or En Vogue, or Jeanne. Like I want to, Erykah Badu, I want to leave a stain on your soul full of greatness.
Yeah. Well, that was deep right there, boy. Stain on your soul full of greatness.
Yeah.
No, I feel that I feel the constraints that I was talking with my brother Steve earlier, and we was talking about how during the mixtape era, it was that unconstrained freedom as an artist to make what you was feeling in that moment. Right? Because it wasn't about no sales. Like artists have been restricted to be seen as products based on like sales and metric numbers now. They talk about how much did you sell this week? Not talking about what was they trying to get across in the music. Was it art or wasn't art? Did they convey it? We don't even hear those breakdowns anymore in that capacity. Right? You literally treat artists like you would treat a movie. You feel me? Like, what was the box office numbers? Right? What did it do this weekend? Not how impactful it was. And that's why...
Shit is like cattle.
100%.
Yeah.
Products. You feel me? Capitalism have taken over the structure of the music industry, right? And it's an industry, right? It's a factory. If you hot right now, we'll sell you, get rid of you. It has nothing to do with whether the music was actually good, whether it was impactful, whether it was vibrational, whether you've added something into the algorithm whatsoever. It's just about how much money you make. So you strip down the art to money, right? So now what it forces people to do is kind of like with Jake Paul and Tyson, right? The most viewed sporting event outside of Las Vegas in history. But it was the worst fight I ever seen. But anytime something happens on a global level, it shifts the paradigm because the collective consciousness sees an example. And the world is never the same after each global event, right? Because of the way people perceive. So instead, now you got some of the top fighters in the world saying, let's fight, right? Because they like, I can go and fight another 20 times and be 50-0, right? And still never make as much money as this guy right here. And my fight will never be seen. So now that changes to everybody else to start thinking more capitalistic because of the new example of the paradigm that they just witnessed.
Right.
And I think that has been the fall of the music industry, to where artists need to have the ability to just put out a mixtape because it's good art.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Weezy is still the GOAT because of mixtape Weezy.
Right.
If we didn't have mixtape Weezy and we just got album Weezy, he's not the GOAT.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's the mixtapes of, bro, say what you want to say, get on there, get it off.
Right.
We don't care what numbers, because there wasn't no numbers attached.
Right.
You feel me? Let the art be the deciding factor.
Right.
You feel me? Not the numbers, because numbers do lie.
Yeah. Fact.
There's bots.
Fact.
People say numbers don't lie, but there's bots.
Yeah, it's a fact.
Let me ask you, speaking of bots, have you heard of, you know what I mean, the bot farms? You know what I mean, that go on behind the scenes. And have you interacted with that side of the industry before?
Never interacted with that side of the industry.
Do you know artists who have? You ain't got nothing on that.
I've heard, but I don't know any artists that have.
Yeah.
Like me, I've always been on the organic side. Like, I've never been the one to go to industry parties and do too much of that. Like, my whole thing is like, I want to see real numbers in real time, like real love. Like, you know what really gets me is like when I get to go outside and, you know, a fan tell me, yo, this song helped me, you know, fight cancer. You know, I was listening to Hood Pope and, you know, I was listening to this every day and it got me through chemo. That's what really like gets me. When it comes down to the bots and that whole game, that's fluff. And people really doing that. It's an industry, so it's like, I ain't mad at it. People do what they got to do to get by. And, you know, them numbers may help them get another deal or land another deal because of the perspective that they created for themselves. But for me, I've always just been cool on who I am. And if like, wherever I'm at, meet me where I'm at, because I know my worth.
So let me talk to you about these 4 years, man. You know, you essentially, while Biden was president, you just left. You came back with Trump. So you left with Trump, you came back with Trump.
Hey, listen, it wasn't on purpose. I would not have left. I didn't want to leave for 4 years.
So what was the progress? What was going on in your spirit that, you know, you had decided that this was necessary to just live whatever life that you was living? You know what I mean? Because I don't think it's particularly the, oh, I need to disappear.
Yeah.
But it's more so like
It's
I've been
never
to a
that.
place where I've been burnt out from success.
You
You know what I mean? That things are going well, but my head is in the clouds, not in the dirt anymore. I'm not connected to this grounded feeling anymore.
Yeah.
And then I feel like almost a slave to my own success, just trying to maintain the thing. But it's like, I heard you talk about it, like, who am I?
Yeah.
Once you get to that question, and that's when you know you veered off the beaten path and it requires realignment.
Right. Or you're just growing, because it's like, who am I can mean I've grown out of this realm. Like, it's time for me to align with things that's truly me. Like, part of my hiatus has been to grow. 1, 2, it was a lot of noise and figuring out like, all right, you know, what am I gonna say amongst this noise? Trying to figure out what do I want to say, and how to say it, because that's another thing, to have an idea on your mind, but then to articulate it is a whole nother thing. Like, some of these songs took me years to write because I had to grow as a person to evolve the music. But then, like, once I grew as a person, I had to figure out a way to make it rhyme and make the beat make sense, and, you know, to me, because it's like, you got to swag it out still. That's a part of my job as well too. So, and being okay with the growth too, like growing in front of people, showing people what realizations you've come across, all of those things. So yeah, 4 years, it was just like, I dropped 2 projects, Floor Seats 1 and Floor Seats 2, before the pandemic. And then the pandemic happened, and me and Pharrell started working on a project for about 2 years. We didn't know when everything was gonna open back up, so we literally making music for the future, just like, yo, this is how people gonna be dancing, like, when, you know, we back in action. But then it's like, when things open back up, which was like after that 2 years, I had to relive and live out the contemporary experiences to really make the music current. And that's what happened. It was like, all right, I got this P project but it's like, yo, it's stuff happening today. Like they're talking about things that's happening today. It was current events that I had to put into the music. And so it was something that I had to say. And by that time, I had enough sitting in my own solitude, enough, studying, meditating, juicing, fasting, growing, journaling, enough of that to really come to a point where I understood how to articulate what I wanted to say and where I wanted to go. I really felt like people wasn't looking at me the way I see myself. Meaning like, yo, he's a hit maker, he's a this or that. And I could make up these own assumptions in my mind of what people thought of me, but I just knew that what I was attracting and how people was talking to me, it wasn't aligned with who I am.
Yeah. How do you see yourself?
I see myself as an artist. I see myself as a strong Black man. I see myself as a intellectual, a person that can express himself artistically through many mediums. When you talk about fashion, design, talk about art, creation, talk about directing, talking about culinary arts, and just a businessman. I run a business. I got a staff. I got plenty people from touring to managers, to artists, a record label, and these just running business, active businesses where I'm providing infrastructure for each business and also economy for families, like for their families. So it's like, and I'm all doing this on my own. Like it's not like I have somebody that's thinking about this for me. Like I'm literally, while I have my career going, I have to figure out these things as they come, and it's a lot of curveballs that come with it. So I don't think people look at me with the business acumen that I have and like just a person to look at like, oh, damn, yeah, he did this, but he did this all on purpose. You get what I'm saying? Like I have it's some type of science that went into like creating what I've manifested.
You spoke on a few different things as far as the juicing, the fasting, the journalism, the meditating. I want to get into some of the meditation and the studying, right? Like, what are some of the things that were, I would say, impactful on your journey of studying and learning? You know what I mean? That if you sitting there meditating, first of all, who got you into that? You know what I mean? Then number two, like, what was some of those things that you were studying that I'm sure as you were going through it, they helped transform you and your perspective. And as I listen to the music, right, I can tell that you've added some of that perspective, which feels like accountability to me. It feels like a responsibility to say, how can I dare learn, right? And then not utilize my power.
Right.
Because I see today a lot of rappers, they grow in their private life, but not in their public life.
Right.
You feel me? So talk to me about those things that you learn and that you now incorporate.
Yeah. So I've always been a person to pride myself on being like real. Like I just want to be real. Like, I'm always the person that's able to go visit family that's still in the hood. I'm always giving back. I'm always like connected. You might see me in a higher place somewhere in Paris doing a fashion show, but like next week I'm back in Harlem at the Juice Bar, walking Kendrick through my neighborhood and all of that stuff, because I understand bringing the equity back to the neighborhood. That's why I stayed in Harlem for so long after I got famous, because I remember seeing DMX walking his dogs while he had a huge movie out, Exit Wounds, and two platinum projects, 2 platinum albums out. And he's going to the same barbershop that I went to get my hair cut. And for me to see that, it gave me the energy to be like, oh, I could do the same thing. And he could still touch the people. But some of the practices that I've done to get to this point, it just allowed me to empty my vessel. I started thinking more metaphysical than physical. And that happened when I was like 30 years old. Because I was like, I just turned 30, but I don't even know how my body operates, how my body works. I watch a lot of people die. What are we dying from? My father died of a kidney failure. My grandfather my grandmother's husband, Quay Lee, died of cancer. So I'm like, how are we going? And then I started studying food and the science of food and what's for us. And I'm like, damn, I've been in this body 30 years. I don't even know I don't know the name of each vein. I don't know this system.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
I don't know
okay,
nothing
yeah.
about I don't
Yeah.
know nothing about my car,
Yeah.
this machine.
Yeah.
So I started wanting to know more about the inside rather than the outside because I did the outside so much. We killed the outside. We done drove some of the fastest cars. We done got on flying birds.
Yeah.
But those flying birds was inspired by real birds. So everything that we see that is manifested and built is off of nature and reality. So it's just all about like diving inside to have understanding. So the whole thing with meditation is I used to have a lot of anxiety, just I guess just dealing with so much. And I remember reading Russell Simmons' book on meditation, and it really showed me how to calm myself down. And it was like it said something to the point where it's like your brain is like a caged monkey that's like trying to jump out of the cage. And then meditation is like the monkey coming to the realization that you're here to stay. Like your brain can't leave your skull.
Yeah.
So it's just bringing yourself to a calm, bring yourself back down to now and being present. And it really helped me think things through and make some breakthroughs. Like it was doors through this meditation where like I'll be like super zoned out. I'll go through a door and be like, oh, and then have to I set my alarm for 15 minutes. I'll come out of the meditation, pause it real quick, and write down whatever I ran across in the meditation. And those be like whole new businesses, whole new ideas, a whole new world that I could add on to what's going on already in my life. And it's just been super helpful.
Yeah, mindfulness and meditation has worked for me big. And I use mindfulness a lot lately. I didn't even realize I do as much now, right? I use a lot of breathing techniques to constantly re-immerse me into the moment, right?
Right.
Like, what am I doing? Why am I doing it? Right? Just to be completely in that moment. Otherwise, when people talk about anxiety, I remember asking my father, I asked, do you get anxiety? He's like, man, I don't get no damn anxiety. He almost said it like, that ain't for my generation.
That's not even a thing.
Anxiety. But it's I would say it's as real as you experience it.
Right.
But what's more real is your lack of doing the other thing, right? And I think what it more so represents is that what you're not doing in your life.
Right.
Versus what's going on, right? So for me, it's like there's a lot of people promote talk therapy a lot, which is fine. Yeah. But I think for Black men specifically, what works better is nature therapy. Right? It's breathing. I think spiritual practices.
Yeah.
Because we're different people. Even when you talk about the whole root of psychology, it wasn't based on African psychology. It wasn't based on the melanated mind. So we have been diagnosed based on the way that white men essentially saw themselves. Right? That Freudian era of psychology. That's why literally Black psychologists talk about the racism that exists in that system. Right? And then how we're misdiagnosed so much. Right? So when I think about us, it's like we need to, I just came from Japan and like, you know, the doctors over there will literally prescribe you nature. You know what I mean? Like, and it's actually legal for a doctor to prescribe you to go to the gym. You know what I mean? Like we need to focus on that aspect of wellness and wealth as men, but specifically like we got to get back to what our ancestors had done. Like we not even connected to the cosmos anymore. You know what I mean? Like you got artists that are so materialistic. I don't think you can be extremely materialistic and an artist at the same time.
Right.
I don't think that works.
That's a fact. You're a hustler.
Yeah.
You're materialistic.
Yeah. You're going for money.
You're hustling for a thing that man made.
Yeah.
You know, I don't believe that art should be sold. Nothing should be sold if you really want to get to it, to the bottom of it. We provide services.
Yeah.
That's what we do as men. Like we get creative and we provide services like water.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We should be able to go and get our own water, like eat off the tree, like all of that, like, and barter. It's a barter system.
Right.
And that's how I believe, I don't know. I haven't did my studies all the way back to like ancient times where people was trading gold for this and da-da-da-da. But that's how I see how a better world can be. But now you got of course capitalism and all of that stuff, and it's just the way it is.
I'm still thinking about that line, art shouldn't be sold.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting. Very interesting. Just in this idea that creating something for the sole purpose for it to be sold, are you saying that makes it not art? You know what I mean? Because like in this conversation of the industry is an industry based on profits, right? Capitalism. You got to make some money. You're literally producing goods. So when you say that the new musicians, or I'm not even sure what you call them, they hustlers, right? Yeah. I want to see what is the sound that I can make to sell somebody something.
It's Mickey D's.
Right. But that's what you would make if you had all the money in the world and you just went in there and made what came to your heart and your soul. Right. That's a completely different music. Matter of fact, we probably never hear the best shit from artists because they're thinking this is not what the times want. But as an artist, you're supposed to make what your soul, right, conjures. You feel me? Like, what's on your mind? What's on your heart? What's on your soul? What can I produce? But that idea of I'm just making a product is more so saying these are entrepreneurs, which is fine, right? But I think we've been robbed of that era of true artists because they don't get to make art without survival. You know what I'm saying? They don't get to make art without it being judged by metrics of how you sell a product. You feel me? Like, let's just get back to the purity, but that's interesting.
But I think that's even more of a talking point.
Yeah.
Like for you not to meet the metrics, or like you making like the most impact, but you got the lowest numbers. It's like that is a point to really talk about in your interviews and whatever. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, but I also look at it like we exist in an era where there's so much gatekeeping. There's so much boule. There's so much, all of these different things that if you don't fit within a certain box, right? It's not that you're not a great artist. Is that they told you this is what we want out of artists. Right. So if you don't fit this artist box and you're over here, then we can't give you the rewards of following our instructions and our guide.
Right.
Like, we have high-level conversations. Our show top 0.1%. If we don't get the awards and the accolades, it's not because the show is not great.
Right.
It's because our show doesn't fit what they said should be the model. Right. It's not safe enough, if you will.
Yeah.
But we don't want to make something safe. An artist is supposed to be creative. They supposed to disrupt.
Innovation.
Yeah, they supposed to, matter of fact, they supposed to create chaos in a little bit. Because what you're saying is, if you can't be a creative if you're going along with what's already produced. I'm bringing something new, which means I'm about to switch things up a little bit and y'all might not like it. Every great artist, when they came in the game, they caused pandemonium.
Look at Ice Cube.
Yeah.
NWA.
Gang was never the same.
NWA coming with the energy. What a cause.
Yeah. 50 Cent when he came in. Everybody was on Kanye West when he came in. Like, what, man? He just switched up the sound. He breaking the rules. Now we got to keep up with this. The artists are always supposed to come in and just flip the tables.
Yeah.
And right now we not feeling that disruption.
Fuck the money.
Yeah.
Like, really, like, stand by what you believe, and, you know, really trust in God for real. Like, become like trust in God.
Yeah. But they demons though. You know, you got the song Demon Time.
Yeah.
You feel me? So if you're on Demon Time, you ain't worrying about God, but it's very tough. You making music.
It's even
God
weird to talk about God.
Yeah.
In a like a very physical sense.
Yeah.
Like, like God is, cause it's like God, I'm scared of that conversation. Like,
but to that point, a person can say they're a demon faster than they can say they're a God.
Which is crazy.
You feel me? And the community will call blasphemous if you call yourself a God, but they say nothing. They, matter of fact, the same Christians will be singing along with the Demon Time, talking about smoking on their ops.
Right.
So it's this hypocritical state mostly because people don't actually understand the things that they believe in.
Right.
Which is why they can't defend it. Right. Which is why they trigger when anybody challenges them.
Right.
Because what you're really challenging is your own depth of understanding and what you say you believe in. But most people are initiates. They only know the beginning. They don't know what it's like to be advanced.
Right.
Well, most prophets, when you look at a prophet or a messenger in their later life, most of the time that's their refined thoughts of what they think about the subject.
Mhm.
When they first come out, that's just God's word.
Yeah.
They might not even understand it. They're just being obedient to God's will, right? So they can be giving you instructions saying, man, God told me to tell y'all this is what God put on my heart. If you allow them to age later on, they have enough time with contemplation to reflect upon their idea of what this means.
Right.
So it's interesting when you look at anybody that has been allowed to age, right, and mature in their ideas and perspective. The music is the same thing,
Yeah.
right? If artists first come out, it's they soul porn. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's like Rod Wave, right? I think he a good example. He made that pain music.
Mhm.
But when he was no longer in pain, right, he made healing music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was like, I'm not about to keep giving y'all pain music. I'm not there. That's
Right.
gonna put me back in
He
pain.
growing, yeah.
Yeah. But that's maturity. That's reflection. And what you should look at your artist and being like, wait a minute. If you came in the game this way and you stayed this way, then we didn't grow,
Right.
right? How come there was no growth?
Right.
So if anything, you should be challenging the artist that you love
Right.
for what that maturity process is, because it's usually there behind the scenes.
Right.
It's just they don't know how to convert that into a public package for a new fan base to consume.
Right.
How do you meditate?
So I set my time for 15 minutes. As soon as I wake up, I don't look at my phone, nothing. I sit up in my bed and I breathe, close my eyes, I breathe, and I'm focusing on my breath.
Mm-hmm.
And then I stay locked into that. But if my mind drifts, I'll allow it to drift and
Mhm.
go everywhere it's gonna go. Because that's the time where like I'm able to tap into that 5D, go into them doors, make some discoveries.
Yeah.
But then bring myself back to now. Like whenever I make that discovery or come across that idea that I may come across, all right, boom, back to breathing. Locked in, my mind drift, let it do that, and then I just keep it coming back to the center, centering myself, keeping myself grounded. And then sometimes if I'm tired, I allow myself just to fall asleep because I might need sleep. And it'll just put me in that state where it's just like, all right, boom,
Yeah.
locked in. But then when I wake up, another 15 minutes, lock in again,
Yeah.
boom. Make sure I get my 15 minutes in. Because with that, it basically breaks the days up. You know what I'm saying? Like it really separates what happened yesterday and how tough that day may been. Or it might have been such a great day that like my vibration, I'm vibrating so high and I couldn't sleep. And I'm so excited that I'm anxious about all of the good things that's happening in my life that I may need to meditate to bring myself back to a centered place. And it allows me to be centered and move forward.
No, I like that. I like that whole idea of breaking the day up. Like if it's going chaotic, don't allow that stream to continue.
Yeah.
That's actually really good advice for anybody that is having a day where they feel like it's stressful and full of anxiety. Why would you allow that continue? Break that pattern quickly.
Right.
You feel me? I'm not even about to allow this to be a continuous reality.
Right.
Because you can shift your day and shift your timeline by
Right.
shifting your emotions.
Right.
Right? So it's like by meditating and being in an environment, right, that is high frequency, you literally get access to different portals and different dimensions. I don't like the way this life is going. I'm gonna shift into a different dimension, right? And the way you do that is you break up that frequency you on and then go into another channel,
Yeah.
right? So once you go into that channel, like, and then you have to be self-aware because everybody's different, right? So some people are more exterior focused, right? So more of your consciousness is on the outside of your body, right? And you're more aware of what's going on. Some people mind is more on the inside, which is what they call anxiety,
Right.
which is really you just constantly cycling over a thought in this nonstop loop, which
Right.
requires a breaking of that pattern. Meditation allows you to do that.
Right.
So if they say if you can sit down and feel your heartbeat, right? That means you have an attunement with your body that is more interior. So what happens is some people can actually meditate and get more anxiety.
Yeah.
And that's because they're already in their head and they're trying to go in their head more. So that's why some people be like, man, that meditation don't work for me.
Yeah.
It's because your meditation should be focused more on the outside, which then creates that balance.
Yeah, that's what happened to me before. Like when I had super high anxiety, my heart, like I was heightened.
Yeah.
My heartbeat sound loud.
Yeah.
Like I could hear the birds tweaking in the air, like as if they was like hanging out with me, like they far, like, and I'm like, I can hear everything. But yeah, I understand what you're talking about when you say that.
And it's powerful because it has been scientifically shown that your body receives information faster than your brain does, right? So you can walk in a room and your body already sense danger. Yeah. And because your body feel a certain way, your brain be like, oh, this is dangerous. Right. So you're responding to the body instead of the body responding to the brain. Right. So what happens is traders can utilize this to where you utilize gut instinct. When you having a good trade, you may not realize, but your heart may beat. It may be a gut instinct feeling right here. Like this happens to me when I'm walking out the room and I forget something. Yeah. My body always knows. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so now I'll stop and be like, what is that I'm forgetting? Yeah. Each and every time that I ignored that feeling, I was right. I did miss something, but consciously I couldn't know. Right. But subconsciously, my body stores memory, information, it has neurons and things of that nature. Right. So it's keeping on the lookout. The thing is, we start contemplating reality and thinking about it only from this mental standpoint of the mind. We forget to be a full being. Right? And embody fully. Like you was in that experience. Don't tell me what your mind felt. What did your body feel about that experience?
Right. Your intuition.
Exactly.
Yeah. What did you feel before? Like that hour before the event happened. Yeah.
But now you go back into listening to music. Like, how did your body feel? Right? Like if we become mindful, we can actually use that sensory input, right, to increase our awareness and be more aligned for better decision making. Right. If you listen to an album for the first time, listen to it and ask yourself, like, how does my body feel when I listen to this music? Yeah. You feel me? Versus you can be over logical about music. Right? Now, that's where you get into, like, some people make music for the vibes. You feel me? And then some people make music for the mind. So they go get you into the metaphors and the analogies. There has to be a balance. Right. You feel me? So for me, if you want to empower yourself and you want to increase that level, then you got to have that certain level of awareness within the body and the mind. Right. So that you can start operating as a higher being, especially in a time where we have artificial intelligence and things of that nature. It requires you actually to evolve. Right. You have to optimize yourself and become super sentient during these times. You talked about 5D, and in that dimension, that's the dream world. That's the imagination. That's the super intelligence. You feel me? Like you can meditate and that can be hitting the right hemisphere, and you can concentrate and that hits the left hemisphere. Right. And then you have the colossum where they both intersect. You feel me? To where that left and that right hemisync as one. Now, as an artist, you should meditate so that you can go into that dream state like you just described, go into those doors, grab ideas, then bring them to this dimension. Right. That to me is an artist.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So now talk to me about this juicing.
So juicing, I did a 25-day juice detox.
25-day juice, meaning that you ain't eat nothing, but you only drink juice.
Only juice. Yep.
What kind of juice?
We did pineapple juice, papaya juice. I did watermelon juice, gala apples, apple juice. Yeah, no water, just straight juice. And yeah, so what that does is it basically hydrates your cells, like with the oxygen. A lot of the times, this is deep. This gets very deep.
No, go. This is high level conversation.
Okay, high level conversation. So
when you talking to, you know what I mean, them other heads,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying, that only read the cover of a book is different.
Yeah,
but this for the guys, man. Go.
H3O2. Yeah, H3O2. That's that mineral water. That's what's gonna replenish your body. You know what I'm saying? Like, we supposed to be drinking water that comes off the rocks through the minerals into our cup. But you know, when you get it from the factory and it's in a box for months and all that stuff like that, by the time it gets to you, it's nothing. It's actually gonna wash the minerals that's in your body out. So it's just basically resetting my body and giving my body that divine love from the sun. Because when you eat a fruit or you juice that fruit, all you're doing is getting the information from the sun. It's like, it's just packets of sun that come through a mango or an apple or whatever the case may be, and that's the source of energy. And you ever hear like fruitarian or a
Yeah.
breatharian.
Yeah.
Like even like breatharians don't drink nothing or eat anything. They
Yeah.
just sit and sun gaze, look at the
Mhm.
sun and receive the information and the energy through the sun.
Yeah.
So yeah, the sun is powerful. Like we eat in the sun or we in its lively things.
Mhm.
And that's our vitamins, that's our hospital.
Yeah. So was you fat before?
Was I what?
Was you fat before?
Was I fat before?
Yeah, well, before you did
Oh,
the juicing.
definitely. I feel like I'm fat right now.
Nah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm.
With like
I feel like I'm.
20%, 30% body fat, 40%.
I feel like I'm full of pus right now.
I thought you was doing the program, man. I thought you'd be getting the work in, man.
Working.
No pain parties outside, man. Come on, man.
Nah, no parties. It's just working.
Yeah.
And really balancing it because we are in a place. We are in a place in a city where like we don't have farms around us.
Mm-hmm.
Buildings is blocking the sun. We don't have seeded watermelons everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if I was living in Tulum or Africa or Panama or something like that,
Yeah.
where I had more access to these things, then I could run my program.
Yeah.
And I think the environment will be working for me versus me working for the environment.
What was you at when you started to do the juicing? Like, I'm saying, like, what took you on that journey?
Well, my dad having kidney failure and realizing that you got to reset your body from these things. You know, things can build up in your body like plaque and tar. So it's like you got to like really like, and then clear my vessel, like wanting to have like a more sharper thought.
When
Yeah, it
did
was
your
just
father pass?
how old
I said, when did your father pass?
my father passed 3 days before my 17th birthday. Yeah, 3 days before my 17th birthday. So I feel like, yeah, when he passed, I just thought it was like dumb to die from like health, like a health issue.
Yeah.
Like that we could have prevented like from food or eating outside.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just wanted to do better. And I've learned about the juicing and the H3O2 and started watching different teachers and people that taught food science and just started practicing different things. I think it's called iology. Is where they look at your eye. I might be wrong.
Yeah.
I might be wrong on what you call it, but it's basically they create a map from your eye and they see little dark spots and they can know from your eye, your pupil, what's happening in your gut or your back or your organs inside your body. And you create like different juices to replenish all of that. So it's really like a holistic way of looking at everything and diving into that. I had a doctor as a teacher. His name was Dr. Tenenbaum in art school, and he was a holistic doctor, and he studied acupuncture, and he was the first to spark in my mind the holistic approach to like healing the body. And then later I heard about like Elijah Muhammad with the book on like how to eat and all of that stuff. You know, of course, Dr. Africa, Addis, Let the Hang, all of the guys, Dr. Sebi, and just figuring out the alternative ways. You know, we know the hospital system already. I've been to the hospital millions of times.
Yeah.
All right, so what else is going on?
Yeah.
Other than that, and just really doing my own due diligence on it.
Now, in the album, Demon Time, right? Because you do talk about that.
Demons, you call it Demon Time.
Oh, demons.
I like what you call it. Call it Demon Time.
but demons, you talk about the different kind of demons.
Yeah.
Right? The demons in the industry, the demons in the algorithm. You talk about the demon that took your pops, the high cholesterol. You really took a concept about, you know, demons, which is true. It's things that take you off your path, right?
Yeah.
Things that take you out of alignment.
Right.
These are all these different demons that exist all around us.
Yeah.
You
a
feel
demon
me?
is just a low vibration.
Yeah.
And, you know, the way you get your crown and you get that halo and you get your wings is when you fly above that low vibration and you raise your vibration.
That ladder.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm just talking about all of the things that's pulling me in, the allure, the demons, the food, the overindulgence of everything, the liquor, the woman, the everything. It can be a demon how you use it and how you perceive it.
So it's the Because when we talk about something being when something is of low vibration, essentially it's just something that helps produce fear, right? Anything that you eat that puts you in that state to where that pattern becomes fearful, or is something that produces love is high vibration.
Right.
Right. So when you think about a demon, it could be a friend that they come around and you feel bad.
Right.
You feel me? It could be food you eat and then afterwards you feel low, you feel tired.
Right.
Like that's a demon. You can watch a scary movie, right? And it evokes fear in you.
Right.
Like, and that gets back to that conversation of being in tune with the body. It's like, if you really in tune with the body and the mind, then you know when you moving through and you encountering demon.
Right.
And then what you do is you switch that frequency to be like, nah, I only want to live a life where everything makes me feel peaceful or love. You feel me? And high energy.
It's a channel.
Yeah.
You can literally just turn the channel, just flick through the channels and raise your vibration. It's a different channel. And on that different channel, you'll attract different things. You'll notice that like, oh man, I ain't dealing with Pookie on the block.
Yeah.
All up in my ear, because when you realize who you are, you're not dealing with certain things. And
that's a fact.
in fact, you become super sensitive to people that got the wrong energy. And then you got to figure out a way to like fit back into the repertoire of things, because I like to say, you know, I'm not a monk on the top of a mountain. The hood pope is all about getting the information and bringing it back to the people. I got to bring it back to the hood. I'm no use of having light if I can't bring it back to the dark. So like, that's my whole thing, is integration.
In the book, The Gene Keys, it talks about like when you have things that put you in the shadows and things that help unlock the gift.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, you in the shadows, you in that low vibrational state, right?
Yeah.
The fear, the doubt, the worries, the anxiety, the stress, all of that. And as an artist, you are in a very powerful position to program people to be in their shadows, or you can program them to be in their gifts, right? To where they operating at a higher vibration, where it unlocks that aspect of self.
Right.
High level conversations is always supposed to be something that takes people out of the shadows and into their gifts.
Right.
Give them intellect, give them codes, give them keys, give them knowledge. When you talk about on the record, you got one called Light Work, right? Which is, you know, essentially you taking a concept, and it's a double entendre. You feel me? About the way you utilize light work as far as, you know, the words in the streets, but then the light work of healing oneself.
Right.
You feel me? Talk to me a little bit about the concept as far as like, why do you feel like it's necessary for you to put these messages in your music, is what I'm saying. You feel me? Like, you are doing what I consider to be, you know, a good manipulation, right? When we watch
putting a medicine in the candy.
Because when we watch shows or movies, they're always doing something to put us in the shadows.
Right.
Right. And you now at this point, and really always been, right? You talked about Shabba, right? You talk even the song Alhamdulillah, you know what I mean? It starts off powerful.
Yeah.
I'm at a new level. That's high vibration.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, what's that thing that makes you want to keep people tapped into their gifts versus not caring about whether they're in the shadows or not? Now you at this place where it feel like you want people to be all in their gifts.
Well, I look at the body of God, which is the universe. I look at us like we're all cells that create the body of God. So if my brother is doing bad, and I can do something to help my brother from doing bad, then we all doing bad, because my brother, he doing bad, he hungry, he gonna go and rob and steal and kill.
Yeah.
And he's killing off the cells of the body of God. And now, like, I believe that's why we have hurricanes and all of these different things that happen throughout the world, because it creates imbalance.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Imbalance in the weather, imbalance in, you know, how we treat the animals, how we treat the crops. It's just super imbalanced. So now the body is renewing itself. And part of renewance is like, you got to get rid of, like, you got to cut the leg off now.
Yeah.
Now you got to, like, to grow a limb back or whatever the case may be, you know, it's going to take some time and all of that. But now that whole, like, energy is just cut off. And that's because, like, we didn't replenish the cells. We didn't pour into our brothers and our sisters. We could have prevented those killings, those rapings, those molestations. We could have did all of that with just, like, paying attention and pouring into our people. And that's my give back with the music. That's me pouring back in to the people.
Do you think, when I remember my older brother put me on ASAP Mob.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He locked up right now. He should be out soon, inshallah. But he was always he would always find and discover new artists. And he'd be like, this one will blow up.
Yeah.
He would always be right. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
he'd just find new sounds that he know once they enter the atmosphere, it's gonna go.
Right.
You feel me? I remember the Purple Rain and all of the ones back in the day. Now, when I first ran into it, it was a Symbolism. You know what I mean? That was captivating. Because I was like, these brothers is a cult. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
All that black scale, right?
Yeah, the black scale back in the day. Like, what was y'all having any internal meetings about how y'all conjuring the dark forces?
Well, for me, I never got into the black scale thing. That was really more so like Rocky was with them and brought them into they was paying for videos and stuff like that.
Damn, I forgot about
and getting the clothes on them. But I didn't know nothing about the symbolism. And at that time, I think that the symbols and numbers and the 666 and all of that stuff, for some reason, it was becoming a fad.
It was.
Within because even with our future, it was 666. And I think it was more so about the shock value because even Jay-Z and, they was calling everybody Illuminati.
Yeah.
That was an era.
That was when everything was, that era was when everything was a theory.
Yeah, it was a theory.
You know what I mean?
So I think it was not so much understanding. I didn't have no understanding of the symbolism, but I think it was more so of the shock value.
Right. No, because it definitely, symbols are powerful, right?
Sure.
Each one of us, our DNA is activated differently, right? Literally, there's a spectrum of DNA. It's activated through light. It's activated through sound and vibration, but also through symbols, right? Symbols cause feeling that then becomes a vibration and frequency, and our DNA is connected to the old symbols, which is why artists would then take paintings and poses, and then they will recreate those because those images are archetypes that exist within us, right? Of a hero, of sadness, of fear, of power, or whatever
Sacred
it may
geometry.
be. Exactly. And those are codes that unlock us. So a lot of people don't realize how intentional the largest artists are. So some of those things that we watch, some of those things people just make up stuff and it's just good connection. But some of it is real because when you're intentional about design, you are trying to evoke a feeling.
Right.
The question becomes is whether it's evil or whether it's good.
Right.
I think all symbols inherently are neutral, but it depends on the intention that you put within a symbol.
The energy you put behind it.
NY is a symbol, right? There's an entire energy connected to that. When people put on that hat, it's a thought orb, right? There's consciousness of the collective that has a belief that is embedded into that symbol that when you look at that, you automatically have memories that are then triggered and activated, really, so that your entire body is interacting with that symbol and you can't tell a symbol no.
Right.
The symbol don't ask for permission. It unlocks whether you wanted to or not.
Right.
So when you see something like Baphomet to use, right, and things of that nature, the idea of witchcraft is literally taking energy, right, and manipulating energy, light and dark forces. You feel me? So I think that when musicians use it or directors use it, right, they're utilizing it for that particular purpose. We have marketing. It's to unlock psychology within the mind and get you connected to something, right? Every one of the corporations use symbolism. They use witchcraft. They use metaphysics, right? When artists use it, we act like it's crazy and taboo, but every single brand uses it as well.
Yeah.
You feel me? You have Novo Nordic disc, which is the symbol of the cow, fertility, and then which is also a bull god. They take that and then they got Ozempics. You feel me? All of these Starbucks, right? They have their logos of these different deities. Every time we say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we are evoking God.
Right.
Right? So it's interesting that symbolism exists all around us. But as a musician and as an artist, I always wondered if people knew the extent of what they were playing with, or they just understood the subconscious aspect of this is going to be powerful. We're going to get that shock value. If it worked for them, it's going to work for me too. You feel me? Which I can then understand, because that gets you a whole nother audience that's appealing to that. Right? They don't even know why. And that's just the phenomenology of, I'm going to apply my own meaning of what this means.
Right. It's like Cardi with the upside down cross.
Yeah.
It's like, we don't really know I don't know what it means, but it's like, it's different. It's shocking.
Devil time.
It's
He
like,
on demon time.
Exactly. I mean, or he just on anarchy time. He's on,
which is similar to, I mean, you know, I guess I had to have that conversation with him to know.
Yeah, because we wouldn't know until we understand where he's coming from with it.
But a lot of them, I feel like a lot of rappers, a lot of artists are not actually the ones in control. They're the ones being controlled. So if you don't know what the symbol is and can't explain it, it's controlling you. You're not controlling it. Right? So you then, when you say somebody a demon, you saying they work for the devil. Right? If you saying somebody an angel, they work for God. You feel me? So when we saying now that person on demon time, it means that the devil is using them. You feel me? That's all that means. So when a person say, I'm on demon time, I'm doing the devil's will right now. Or they doing thou will, right? You say you're on God's time, man. I'm on my Muslim, on my deen right now. I can't partake. You feel me? I got to say this, not because it's going to make me money, but it's the truth. God want me to say it. It's on my heart. I got to speak it. You feel me? So we live in a world where there's a battle of forces. And the music industry knows how to utilize light and dark. It has to create enemies and heroes. There's archetypes that exist in all of us. You feel me? But that's how you create the most energy, through friction. You know what I'm saying? It got to be a Kendrick and a Drake.
Pepsi and Coca-Cola.
It got to be. So, and music is the most powerful universal language on the planet Earth that can activate DNA, activate energy. You feel me? It can make people go out of their body, literally. You go to church and people catch, you know, the Holy Ghost. What's actually happening? You know what I mean? Like, what is that state when we really get to talking about how a person had been activated to where they are beyond themselves and they was taken over by something. Right. And then they can't explain it. So what was that actual experience? You take that into a different setting at a rock concert, they call it demonic. You take it into a church, they say it's godly. Right. But it's similar to the same thing. Right. It's the pendulum that swings. It's on both sides. So this younger generation has to be careful, because there are so many masters of the mystical arts, right? Like when our generation was watching those videos and watching those conspiracy theories, we were being introduced to it, but we didn't also realize that we were being primed to actually accept it, because it's no longer shocking.
For sure.
When something's shocking, you fight against it. Like, bro, tripping. He on demon time. He got the nails and stuff. What he got going on with that golf?
I think what's more shocking now is you be on angel time.
Well, for sure. I'm on that.
You be on God time.
My name means is named after an angel, but one of them archangels though. And I want them little soft little, you know what I mean, white baby angels with the wings. I ain't doing all that. My angel time is like death angel time. You feel me? Like in the Mayan calendar, right? You can put your name in there. I mean, your birth date in there, and then you can find out what your name means essentially, right? There's codes to it. And mine is White World Bridger. It represents the cycles between life and death. You know what I mean? And condensing that and getting people to understand what that means, which is why I'm always teaching people about new paradigms and new cycles and when things are coming in and when things are going out. And the more you study yourself, the more you get aligned with who you are, because you are a symbol wholly as a person. Right? And I think human beings are the greatest examples of what a symbol is, because if you take Daryl, right? That's the name that we call you, right? The assigned identity based on your parents, because they had ideas that they wanted you to represent. There was a feeling that conjured that said, this is Daryl. Then there's the perception of how you perceive yourself, right? But then there's, when I see you, I want to think a certain way. I want to feel a certain way, whether I want to or not. And everybody's DNA is going to activate a certain way when they interact with you. Then there's your bloodstream of all the information that exists within you, right? So if I was to take your blood, then I will find information to say, this is Daryl based on this DNA. This is the mathematics. This is what was in his family origin. Take that same thing with a symbol. then when you study it and you go down to the root, you're looking at the DNA of it, right? But it's a living entity, right? That people believe in, that people feel.
Yeah.
So as I walk around, I got the sun, moon, and stars because we represent the cosmos, divine order and alignment, right? So you get to operate as a symbol that can either have people in their shadows or their gifts. You get to operate as a symbol that can evoke light or evoke darkness.
Right.
It can evoke love, it can evoke fear.
Right. You're a light worker.
Yeah. You get to literally design yourself,
right?
Which is powerful. You feel me? And then you can be like yourself. You're an artist.
Yeah.
But what does that mean? It means that you are evoking spirits in each person that listen to your vibration.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? And even when the thing about music is that nobody can really buy it, right? It's not an NFT. It's not fungible.
Yeah.
Right?
You can't like literally put it in your pocket like a song, a block in your pocket.
It's not the same as that. It's you are paying to experience it. You feel me? And I think that's the powerful thing about music is that it does not exist in a physical reality. Yeah. It only exists in your experience with it.
Uh-huh.
You feel me?
It's
and
air.
The more you feel about it, the greater the music is.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like I remember going to the clubs back in my day, you know what I'm talking about? In Oakland, and that Hamdulillah came on. I ain't gonna lie, because being a Muslim, we didn't get to hear that often. Yeah. Not until like Jay Electronica came out, I had heard like a whole black Muslim song. But when that
and then Jay Electronica is different.
Yeah,
because he going in on the practice, the religion.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like I'm in a club.
Yeah.
And you're not even expecting that from me.
But
when I do it, it feels right.
Yeah. But that part, play that back.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. I just felt like he made that for us.
Yeah.
And my brother sitting in there like, we got the crowns on, you feel me? Like, all right, this is our moment now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That was the vibes.
I love
and then
that.
we probably got in a fight afterwards. We was too turned up. But I want to go a little more to, first of all, you brought that memory of Black Skill back. I forgot all about that. I remember I used to work right around the corner for one of them shops to go in. They used to have so much double stuff in there.
Yeah, because that was in Oakland.
Yeah,
right?
I was in San Francisco at the time.
Oh yeah, San Francisco.
They had the shop in San Francisco.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
But that was hella memories ago. But the knowledge yourself aspect, you got knowledge yourself.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of rappers now that's Muslim, that talk about, different, what I call niche black men. They're in different sectors now. It's not just, it never been, I should say, because hip hop has a foundation of the gods. You feel me? It has a foundation of, knowledge yourself and divine mathematics incorporated into it. You feel me? Now, it had lost that for a very long time as far as the industry becoming more prominent of what the sounds you hear. So it become frequency wars.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? Like, can we embed consciousness in it, or can they embed death in it? Can we give them life? And that's when you get the different artists, is like the spectrum difference between Nas and Gucci Mane. It's completely different archetypes. You know what I mean? And then that difference between even a Drake and a Kendrick, completely different archetypes. A Kodak Black and a J. Cole.
Yeah.
Different archetypes. And I think that you need darkness and light, because a lot of men don't know how to tap into their dark side to control it. It controls them. That's why a lot of women don't want these young men nowadays, because they're not men. They don't know how to be a protector. You got to be in that darkness to do that. You got to exist between that light and that darkness.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you about, being a man, you call yourself an intellect. What does that mean to you? What does it mean for you to assert yourself and not be compromised?
What that means for me is just to know self, one, to know what I'm standing on, to know what the fight is, to have understanding. I feel like we'll go through life trying to understand life more and more and more and more. Like the lessons never stop. But as an intellectual, you'll be able to break things down. Like I could have a child and be able to talk to that child and pass down these seeds of knowledge down to that child, or a woman, or even my parents. And that's what I think allows me to call myself an intellectual.
Now, as far as something that you study or know or think about that you feel like you don't have a platform to really share, like what's one of them ideas? You know what I'm saying? Like, Don't even think about it. Just share it.
The idea of like the body of God being the universe.
Yeah.
And like how we all basically a microcosm of like everything that is.
Mm-hmm.
So like when you think about like the Fibonacci sequence and you look at a snowflake under the microscope and like it just keeps going and it's infinite, that shows you the pattern of us. We're infinite beings, like energy never die, as above, so below.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's not something that's something that we may have like heard like Raekwon, not like the Wu-Tang, like kind of like dive into a little bit, but you know, it hasn't really been popularized in this, the culture that we have now. And I would love to like, I feel like it's going back. Or I would love for it to like go back. I don't know. I feel like, you know, I'm doing it and I know what I do is like, you know, I believe what I do is cool. So it's like, I feel like it will open more doors for people to like dive into these different
Drop
ideals.
some science.
Exactly.
Yeah, because niggas don't drop. I ain't gonna lie, the industry hates on dropping science. And I mean that in the sense to where they make it seem like it's a corny archetype or a trope. You know what I'm saying?
I'm to the point where it's like, all right, I know I'm not corny, but if I'm corny to you, perfect.
Yeah.
I don't want to hang out with you.
Yeah.
And I want to attract the people that's not corny. Because I think you're corny as well. If you think what I'm talking about is corny, then cool. We don't need to hang out.
It's actually just when you got a backwards culture, you know what I mean? Is what you consider to be corny a lot of times it was real. You feel me? And a lot of shit don't actually need to be cool for it to be valuable.
Right.
And I think that that's what you got to get to. It's kind of like a person being in a state of peace and they like, this is boring. You feel me? Like, this is stillness. And this is silence. Relax and allow yourself to receive those downloads.
Exactly.
Everything doesn't have to excite you to this point where you outside of your body and your mind. And a lot of times people don't want to sit with themselves.
Right.
So it's like,
you actually don't need more clothes. You actually don't need more of this. You actually don't need more of that. You just.
But it's easier to reject something than accept it because then it requires more work for you to do.
Right.
Like if you write about eating right and meditating and maybe we should make music that's a little more, you feel me, intentional, then it's like, am I actually gotta go do all of that and become something more than what I am when I really want to be lazy with it.
Right.
So I'd rather say, man, he on that bullshit. Man, he talking that shit.
Right.
I hear that shit. You feel me? Versus to be like, he right. Let me get on my thing.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Facts.
Which I think is key.
Yeah.
Like look at Jaylen Brown, right? We both know him. He is an example in the NBA that, if I'm being quite frankly, they wish didn't exist. You feel me? Because it's easier for them to continue with the way things are, right?
Yeah.
Without people breaking rules.
Yeah, that disruptiveness.
Exactly.
Now they got to rebuild the system and build around him now. Now we got other kids seeing it. It's a thing. It's growing. Like, what's going on?
Yeah. How did you all get to the point where y'all got in the studio, you feel me, and y'all made some music together? How did y'all even meet, matter of fact?
I met Jaylen in Paris at a Valentino fashion show. He came up to me and obviously he's a basketball player. He's tall. He had the flat top. He's like, yo, I'm a fan. Like, can we take a picture? And I thought that was mad humbling and different. People don't do that, especially like if you're a ball player, you're not like, yo, I'm a fan. Can I take a picture? And like he had his peoples with him. He dressed up and everything like that. So he was so genuine that like we kept a rapport going. We didn't really talk every day, but I remember I needed a haircut. And my uncle was like, yo, Jaylen is upstairs. He got a barber. And I'm like, word? He said he getting his haircut right now. I said, yo, I'm about to hit him and see if I get a haircut. So when I went up to his room, I wound up getting a haircut. We was just talking the whole time. And man, we just clicked. And then I found out his birthday is on the 24th. My birthday is on the 20th of October. And we just threw a couple parties together. We chopped it up. You know what I'm saying? I got a chance to be on a journey with him, you know, winning a championship, but even like the energy that added up to that point, watching all of the work he put in. And that was inspiring to me as well because it was all energy, right? Like I could look at the Mamba mentality and be like, man, I want to work as hard as Kobe. Like I get to have that live in the flesh in front of me to see what this man do to become like the greatest of all time. And that inspired me as well. So, yeah.
And then y'all made a song together.
Yeah, and then we made a song.
Yeah, talking about.
We was hanging out one night. We was at his spot, and we was having dinner, and then we like fake started battling each other. Like, and I'm like, yo, we could just go to the studio. Like,
He was battling?
yeah, he was trying to battle me. I'm like, yo, we can just go to the studio.
Oh, that's funny.
So he went. He was like, for real? I'm like, yeah, book the studio. So he booked the studio out. We wound up doing a joint. But I'm like, man, I can't get burnt on this joint. I'm like, I cannot get burnt by this dude on this track right now. And so I left the booth. I went on the side and I just locked into my verse. We came back, I came back in. We finished the song. And he like, yo, stay another day. We're gonna get another studio session. I gotta make sure my shit right. So he booked another studio session. He added his ad-libs and we did the mixing and all of that. So he was super into it. What that showed me about him is like, he's just a champion of life. He's not just a champion playing basketball. That's just his mentality.
Yeah.
He wants to win at anything he's doing.
But you know, you in the studio, I could tell your level of mastery because I seen a video where he had said his verse and he was gonna do it again. And you was like, nah, let's keep it that.
Yeah.
Don't try to make it too perfect. Let it to be raw and authentic. And what I seen was like you showcasing your novice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like as somebody that's been in it.
Right.
Like, is that typically how your studio sessions go? Like, or are you like intentional about like knowing this is how we make this?
I'm going off of feeling. Like I get out the way. Like I'm like, oh, that felt right. Like that little tremble in your voice, that felt right. You looking at it as a mistake, like it's falling off the beat a little bit, but that's like the chicken that's falling off the bone. That's grandma's dish right there. You don't mess with that. Like, don't talk about you want the chicken a little more firm or whatever. Like, nah. That joint is hitting the way it is. And that's basically what I was telling him. Like, we don't gotta rehearse the song so much to the point where it's performative. You want people to feel like you're in a room with them. Like we're performing to them.
Right.
I remember with Plain Jane.
Yeah.
And that was like one of the first times I really noticed that because I was singing the song, like I was rapping it, but I'm rapping it like I'm rapping it to myself. Like as if like I'm not trying to be performative, like I'm rapping at you. Kirk Knight was trying to tell me like, yo, I want you to go in there and I want you to perform that joint. Like, and I'm like, nah, because I want everybody to feel like they can sing this song. They don't have to perform this. You could be on a train, going to work. You can be doing whatever you want to do. At that particular moment, I want everybody to feel like they can sing it to themselves. Like, you don't have to be in the shower to feel like you can hit a note. You get what I'm saying? Like, no performance, just saying it and just being. And that's why, like, I got that monotone kind of, like, energy on it. Ride with the mob. I'm doing it. Because you can say that to anybody can do that. Take it with me. Then, da-da-da. Not ride with the mob. Huh? Like, not saying that wouldn't have been a hit too, but I just believe that, like, you could damn near hum that to yourself. If you need a blessing from God, right then and there, you at your job, and you can't perform it out, you can say it to yourself. And that voice is more like that in your head. Naturally, to be like more subdued and more low with it than it is to be outward and performative with it.
But that is a science to the hit, though. You know what I mean? Because there's a science to a hit. It's funny because the science to a hit can actually take away from art sometimes because you got to structure it in a certain way. Right? It has to be certain space. It has to be call and response.
A call and response.
You know what I'm saying?
That was baby. With your hand.
You were like a festival artist. You know what I mean? You're like when Ferg come on or Daryl come on, like it turns up because it's interactive.
Right.
You got your parts that you get to say, the parts that, you know what I mean? Like the audience say, the parts that you say, like that's something that automatically like, okay, they thought I was dead.
Right.
They thought I was dead.
Right.
And it's personal on how you receive that for yourself. Like, yeah, they thought I wasn't coming back. They thought I wasn't gonna do this. They thought I wasn't gonna say something. Like, all of that becomes like a personal like song for yourself.
Yeah, it's affirmation.
I mean? Yeah.
But the thing is, when I created They Thought I Was Dead, it was really answering to certain people that really was doubting me. I didn't think I was dead, but I was like making this anthem for people that did feel that way. And or making a comeback, or like been working for a long time and about to unleash some new vibes.
Yeah.
I was making this song for Deion Sanders' team when they kept losing in Colorado. I was like, man, that's why I say the Shador line in there.
Yeah.
Because it was like, I'm gonna create an anthem for them to really come back and bust some ass.
I could feel that. Yeah, man. Because when I got some songs like that. I got a few albums.
You gotta stop playing, man. You missed that. You missed that Demons verse, man.
Well, you know,
the world ain't know.
The world didn't know. So what happened was
Keys was supposed to be on that Demon.
We went into the studio to record it. I needed the original, and I should have hit you at the time to get it. You know what I mean? Because I was trying to spit the verse on what you had sent me.
Right.
And I'm like, this ain't gonna work. I ain't gonna catch it like that.
Right.
Let me just hit him for the original later. Because it took me a while to get in the studio because I had been busy. Wasn't that I didn't want to do it. Because I asked you when I first heard it, like, this resonates.
Yeah,
you feel
yeah.
me? I was gonna God body it.
Yeah, for
you
sure.
Know what I'm saying? That's a new term. You God body.
God body. Woo.
You're talking about that's what I was going to
You gonna God step on that.
Yeah, you're talking about. But it's cool, man. The opportunity to come back around, man.
Nah, I will. Everything is perfect.
Yeah.
Everything is perfect.
Yeah. Maybe I'll get you on one of my joints.
Yeah, that's easy. That's an easy call.
When we interacted and you played me your album in the car, each joint, you know, was just going through a journey, right? And it's funny, I've gotten the opportunity to like listen to yours, to listen like Joey Badass, you know, and they actually remind me similar. And I told you, like, I believe this is a new way for artists to have transparent music, right? Where and the transparent music essentially allows your audience to catch up with you and where you are, who you are, right? Because sometimes you go so far ahead that they like congratulating you, but they not with you.
Right.
Right. And it's kind of like that when you get successful and you got family. They know the old you, but they don't understand the new you.
Right.
So they're going to constantly do things to offend you, or they're going to be like, man, F them. They not with me no more.
Right.
But when you an artist and you make transparent music, it's just truth.
Right.
Love it or hate it. And I feel like every artist should just make a transparent album. This is how I feel. This is who I am.
At least one.
Yeah, at least one. You feel me? Like, one of the biggest criticisms of Drake is that they feel like he never had an album where he gave his opinion on the world, right? And whether he should be or shouldn't, I think it's just to the point where you spend so much time with an artist, you want to know their thoughts, right? But they focus on, my thoughts is I'm about to make more money because it's a business. But art is personal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Once you connect to an artist, I want to know who you are, what you've been through, what you think of. Yeah. But for you to share your vulnerable moments on there, you know, I think it was healing for a lot of other men, right? Who oftentimes don't have a voice to speak on their experience in life, right? Especially the traumas, right? So on that song, right, what was your thought process going in on how you wanted it to be received, right? When you spoke upon a man that touched you in the pool.
Yeah. So I had a lot of different thoughts on it. Like, first it was like, I was just writing it for myself. Like, I was just writing it to see, like, how could I make this hit to myself?
Yeah.
To make this listenable. Because it's like, how do you explain this story in, like, a song, like, and then being like Ferg that everybody know for like these records.
Yeah.
So, you know, it started really like 8 years ago. I wrote a song called We Don't Judge. That was kind of inching towards it. And then a few years later, I wrote a song called Innocent Child. And I brought my boy Kirby in, designer Pierre Moss. I love his storytelling throughout his clothes and how brutally honest he is and his point of views. So I wanted that energy. And just to figure out, like, just like as a coach, like, yo, what can I do to better this song? And he was like, yo, you scratching the surface, you got to dive deeper. And I got into my bag. I got into this bag where it was just like, all right, what do I want my movie to look like? I started thinking about that. Like and this was before Quincy Jones passed away. I was looking at how fulfilled his life looked and how much life he lived. I'm like, what makes this story more interesting is telling everything. Like, telling like the trials, the tribulations, my ups, my downs. And I got infatuated with like just diving in and like being more vulnerable. And it was this thing where I got I got a friend and she said, yeah, you're always happy like Barney. Like you're always just smiling all the time. Like, and I'm like, oh, you don't think I go through nothing?
Yeah.
So I really wanted to show the side of Ferg going through something because really us as a society is kind of fucked up, but we like that shit. We like to know that people go through shit.
Yeah.
We want to know like, damn, you've been through some shit too. You've been through some fucked up shit and all of that. But I looked at it as like taking the power away from something by putting it out there. Even my therapist, he was like, I don't think that that's smart or whatever the case may be. But I'm like, what do you know? Because I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm driven by God. Like that's the only way people are able to create helicopters and airplanes and all of these different things that we utilize as tools. It's like I want to create a tool that people can use, and that's what I felt like I was driven to do. Yeah, man, and that is like one of my favorite songs because I feel like that will be the song that I want my son to listen to or kids to find. Because I was also trying to figure out a way how can I talk to younger kids because when I was 9 years old, I did get dumped in a pool by an older dude and he groped me. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like confused, like, why did that happen? Da-da-da-da. That's hip hop. That is our religion. That's our culture. We should be able to sit down at a round table and have these conversations.
Yeah. Well, because in hip hop, we pretend that it don't exist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it creates a machismo. It creates this space where you try to make up for that. Because often, I think Nipsey Hussle talked about it before. I think it might have been Jay-Z. You know what I mean? When we look at each other and we get aggressive towards each other because we're wearing these traumas and we're afraid that somebody sees it.
Right.
You feel me? And we try to make up for that instead of healing that and then moving forward. And that's no longer on us.
Right.
Because we feel guilty for going through things.
Right.
When I go into my mind, I think about my past, right? And what I do is, first of all, I go through every instance and make sure I forgive myself. Because what I realize is that we go through a lot of cycles while we're living of a lot of death, right? We go through cycles of birth and renewal a lot. So I'm not the person that went through it. But if I hold on to it, I still feel like that person. I'm still frozen in that moment.
Right. You're not growing.
What I do is I go back and I decide what that meant, right? And the reason that had to happen, right, is because that's who that person was and they could only respond like that. The reason I'm not that person is because today I've matured and I've grown and I've learned from that. So sharing trauma or sharing experiences, right? Nobody should ever feel guilty. And vulnerability is a strength, especially for a masculine man, right? Because what you're saying is that I'm comfortable enough and strong enough, right, for everybody to hear this and still be myself.
And I feel more powerful too, just knowing like, you ain't paying my bills. Like none of y'all like not doing nothing for me. Why should I care what you think or what you saying or none of that matters to me. So it's like.
But it's also art.
It's art. I'm a pure artist.
Right.
This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just lay it all out, my whole soul on a canvas. And that's up to y'all to like talk and whatever. Like I'm just gonna create the next thing.
Yeah. Like I heard DaBaby, he got a dope song where he talks about his brother's suicide. You feel me? Like those are not songs you make because you want to make money.
Right.
Right? It's songs you make because you want to get something off your heart.
Right.
You feel me? And for somebody else going through that same thing, it allows them to heal through that shared experience as well. Like, bro, you're not the only one. And then we know that there's such a culture to where we might womanize, right? We might do so many things to make up for those scars.
Right.
And you might not see it on the outside, but that's the shadow self versus
Right.
the public self.
Right.
And I think that that's what music should be for.
Right.
Is to deliver those messages that allow people to heal.
Yeah.
Allow people to hear themselves and see themselves and not feel alone.
Right.
You feel me? I think that that's powerful because how many rappers we know that are fighting demons, right? But they're afraid to ever face those demons. So what they keep trying to do is hide from them, bury themselves in as much drinking and much drugs and much socializing.
More jail and more death.
Yes. So that they ain't never actually got to face the man in the mirror.
Right.
You feel me? And had a real moment of like, this is who I am.
Right.
Because once you do that, you empower yourself because you get back aligned. Because otherwise you got this shadow that's just sitting over here and it has control over you because instead of sitting in the middle, you're supposed to sit in the middle. Here's my darkness, my shadow. Here's my light. You don't ever be just in a light.
Right.
You don't ever just be in the dark. You're in the middle.
Middle, centered.
Where you wielding both of them and you got control and you can steer the ship.
Right.
You feel me? That's power. And that's what it is when a person is transparent. They saying, I'm in the middle. I'm in full control.
Right.
You feel me? Like that's your Christ moment. You know what I'm saying? To where you let it out.
Yeah.
And I think that hip hop needs that more. You know what I mean? Black men specifically need that more because let's be honest, like we at this stage in life right now as a paradigm, Black men specifically, where we need to reestablish who we are. Like, who are we, right? Who do we want to be? What is our leadership? What is our masculinity? What is our role on this planet, right? And sometimes we take so many L's in front of each other, which is not good because it decreases, right, that testosterone. It decreases that willfulness to win and win and win. And then sometimes we don't let people know why we taking the L.
Right.
Look, I wasn't feeling good. This happened to me. Like, oh, I understand now.
Yeah.
But what it really is that data that we don't understand.
Right.
You feel me? And the thing about celebrities is that they sometimes have these moments that nobody could ever understand because they don't share the backstory.
Right.
You feel me? It's like, listen, I'm matured. And the reason that now I'm doing things this way, this is what I was dealing with. This is what I got over. This is how I'm moving forward with it.
Right.
You feel me? That's being a man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and we have to get back to being a man that's facing oneself.
Right.
You feel me? In front of the world.
Right.
And stop judging each other for being human beings.
Yeah.
We full spectrums of consciousness. How you gonna judge me for having a full light?
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah. And then also understanding like what you doing it for. Like I ain't doing it for none of y'all.
Right.
And it's been so many years. I felt like I was doing it for everybody. You know, you coming from the hood, like, yo, how many bitches you fuck? How many da-da-da-da-da? How many da-da-da-da? And then it's like you build that toxic relationship with yourself because now you think you gotta fulfill all of their plans and ideals on how life should be when like it's like you're supposed to be just quieting those voices down and really figuring out what you want to do because that's when you will get aligned and you will be at peace. Like when you just figure out like what you really want to do, like when you go on that vacation by yourself and like you ain't got your girl like, I want to do zip lining, I want to do this, I want to do that. And you figure like, damn, I just want to sleep all day. I just want to get up and read. I just want to get up and watch 19 Keys, like the new interview he got.
Yeah.
Like that is really you being in line with what you're here to do. And you have so many fucks not given when you reach that point. And you become a better artist, I believe.
100% because it becomes real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The other shit is just a character that we create that mask ourselves and then we go out there and try to sell it.
Right.
Y'all want more of this character? All right. Somebody give me the goddamn suit. I'm about to put it on and go out there.
Yeah.
Like, nah, like I show, like people don't like when I'm cursing sometimes. They don't like if I move a certain way. It is what it is because that's me.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like if I have to be the version of me that you accept, then I'm not being myself and I'm not gonna like myself.
Right.
That means that I would only like myself when you like me.
Right.
I like myself all day.
Right.
The size that you wouldn't
love
like,
myself.
none of that. I accept it all because I grew up with a diverse experience of reality. You know what I'm saying? I grew up with all of the experiences almost that one can go through. You know what I mean? The ups and downs. So all of that made me who I am. So I can't be ashamed of none of it.
Mhm.
You feel me? So boom, this what made me who I am today. I can't know if that didn't happen, it wouldn't have allowed me to get to this point, to have something to prove that then allowed me to be who I am. And by the time I share with you what made me who I am, I'm already great.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But what really, at least to the world, but what really makes me great is when you have success by yourself.
Right.
When you by yourself in that home and you feel like him and ain't nobody cheering, no applause, no numbers, nothing is coming in. It's just, I'm successful because I'm aligned with who I am.
Yeah. I'm
That's
successful
different.
because I want to just watch TV tonight. I don't want to go outside.
Mm-hmm.
I'm successful because I'm turning down the wine tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm successful because I'm actually going to leave here early and go to the gym.
Yeah.
That's why I'm successful. Because I have a mind of my own.
Yeah. And that to me is masculinity.
Yeah.
You feel me? And reshaping that image. Like, we had Mike Tyson showing his ass wilding. He had Obama yelling at us. You know what I'm saying? He had Denzel talking about kissing people and stuff, which he said he retracted. You feel me? Black man had a tough year. He didn't retract it? He didn't retract it. So what I'm saying is black men having a tough year. You feel me? And I think that we need to have our best year yet, 2025. I'm
agree.
talking about physically, mentally, financially, like.
Time to get sharp.
Yeah, with Kamala not winning, I think it's the greatest opportunity for black men to step into that leadership position and tell our women, don't worry about it. We got y'all, and we gonna take y'all into the future.
Right.
You feel me? Like, we gonna lead y'all, we gonna show y'all how we're progressing, right? How the music is evolving. And what's gonna happen is, like, when a person complains about women music, it is what it is. But the reality of it is the women just taking cue from the men.
Right.
You know what I mean? So when you do get a large artist that is dropping that science and making a hit again,
Yeah.
then we get a female doing the same thing.
Right.
You feel me? So when we complain about the world going a certain direction, we're complaining about them following our lead.
So we got to be the change we want to see.
Exactly. Because we don't like where we taking people.
Right.
You nigga got lost because you took them somewhere.
So sorry to cut your wisdom, but that was one of the things also, I think when I started first eating plant-based, I was listening to my music, and I guess like that food allowed me to be clear. And I'm listening to my music, and I'm like, I'm sending mixed signals. Like this don't even make no sense. Like, you feel me? Like you can even hear it in my song Lord with Bone Thugs and Harmony on my first album. I talk about Master Farad and all of these different things. Triple your sevens, no violence, no young Lord. Study your scriptures and follow your God. Like, but then I'm talking about like other shit with like, all types of other stuff that is not pertaining to lifting your spirit and raising your vibration. But that's just me not knowing. That's me being influenced and just me putting words together that I thought sound cinematic and cool.
Yeah.
So when I started like getting hip and conscious to what I was actually saying, I'm like, nah, that's my gift. I make things beautiful. I can make a positive song beautiful. You know what I'm saying? I can make a positive song. I can make a dark thing be positive at the end of it. You know what I'm saying? Every song is not light on Daryl. Every song is not Pool. We have a law, but it's a part of the grand scheme of it. It's like a law. It's like the law of the game. You have demons because it's talking about the demons that comes with the law. You have messy because with demons you get messy. So that's a part of the grand scheme. And then you have chosen because chosen is like the affirmation to myself. Like me looking in the mirror, just knowing that I'm chosen. Like 400 million sperms made it to the egg. We got through. We all chosen. Like we fought. Get up off. It was mad roadblocks. We got through. We all chosen. And that's just how like I feel like when art speaking in a darker sense, to have a well-balanced meal, you should come with light as well.
Speaking of light, you be having a lot of brown-skinned girls around.
Well, that's the light. That's the
Tell me why you intentional about that representation of our brown
that's-
cocoa butter melanated sisters. That's
That's
golden,
what I love.
sunshine kiss. You know what I'm talking about?
That's what I love. That's the carbonation right there. That's sun.
Yeah.
That's the sun child.
What you want to say to all our brown skinned girls out there?
Shout out to all of the cocoa butter babies out there. Fergie, love you. Everything about you. Yes, that's all I can say.
Yeah.
Really, that's all I need to say. But yeah, you know, and it's not just one, I love the way brown skinned women look on camera and just period in life and the way they skin glow. Like I'm brown skinned. I love the way I look. So I want to have more of that around me. You know what I'm saying? I love it and I love more of it and I want to see more of it. And I'm like, yo, how y'all not gonna have like the dark skin joint as the lead?
Yeah.
Like we could mix it up sometime. I love my light skinned sisters too. But it's like, we've been doing that for dumb long.
Yeah.
Like, when we gonna switch it up? When we gonna, you know, and this is how I am in real life. It's not like a aesthetic or anything like that. I really love flavors. Like, we come in all sorts of flavors.
No, I think that's real. I think even light-skinned women appreciate that because they get over fetishized. You know what I mean? Just because they're light-skinned, not because of who they are.
Yeah.
Right? And then it creates, of course, the colorism. But, you know, bringing back that brown skin, that's just self-love. You feel me?
That's the sun. That's the carbon that governs the complexion. This is that information.
Yeah.
This is the reason why we jump high. This is the reason why we dancing. We can move our hips and like that is the black magic. Like that's the true black magic. Like that's us. Like this is that melanation.
All we need, all black men need in the entire world. You know what I mean? We can win any war. We can take over anything. We can, we the president tomorrow. We can invent anything. We can create new technological fields, scientific developments. You feel me? We can put up a new sun if we want to.
Right.
If we just restore our relationship with our women.
We could put up a new sun if we want to. That was
you know
hard.
What I'm saying? And we're going to shine together.
You was a problem in junior high school. Yo. He said we could put up
but it's real.
Star.
We need to start putting out more messages to our melanated sisters because all they really need is that support and love. And when they don't get it, they seek it and they have to find it somewhere else.
Yeah.
And whether it's in their masculine development or what they produce, or you not gonna love me, I'm gonna go get the world. You know what I'm saying? But if you look at how great they are, right? What happens when they on our side? We talked about Willie Lynch. We talked about how they broke up the family. What we really saying is they broke up black men and women from understanding and loving each other.
Right.
So that means that if we support, understand, and love each other again, the world is back ours.
Right.
The world ain't ours when we become president or we hit some metric or we got a new billionaire. The world is ours when black men and women are getting along.
Yeah.
That's simple.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, I'm at this point now, there's a lot of brothers in here, but my goal now, I need an army of brown skinned women.
Yeah.
We can get anything done.
Yeah.
Bro, they got so many skill sets.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they work in these jobs. First of all, the sisters been getting money. They not broke.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They may be taking money from the brokies, but we gonna get them to invest in some assets.
Yeah. Well, you need to come to the Brown Lounge.
The Brown Lounge.
You got to come to the Brown Lounge.
So tell me about the Brown Lounge.
That's my lounge. That's my lounge traveling concept lounge that I have where all of the brownies come out. We have good conversation. We listening to like high vibrational music. We got jazz playing. And I feel like for being a millennial, we haven't been served to. We've been underserved for so many years. Like, you know, music we grew up on, hip hop and R&B, or the Isley Brothers, or Jeanne, or Luther Vandross, Patti LaBelle, Mary J. Blige, all of these people that we love, Groove Theory, Soul to Soul. I want to bring that back into our culture as an option. We can listen to trap, we can listen to EDM, we can listen to whatever we want to listen to, but I want to provide that vibe back into the the souls of us, because that was the stuff that I feel like spoke to
Yeah.
my soul
Yeah.
and it kept me calm. Whenever I felt like I was having a tough day, I'll listen to some Sade and sit in some Epsom salt inside the bath water, and it'll just calm me right on down.
Yeah.
Sade's voice sound like
She's an angel.
she's an angel, and it sounds like it sounds like wind through a flute.
Yeah.
And like wind coming through the window with the curtains blowing. That's visually what I hear when Sade sings, and it just calms me down. So this is what I want to do. I want to provide those things.
Yeah.
To
you need a whole Brown
to
day.
everybody.
Like,
well, my last name is Brown.
A word
as well.
You related to James Brown?
I might be.
Y'all, you kind of favor James Brown. Get down. You kind of favor James Brown.
Hilarious. Yo.
James Brown was wild.
James Brown was a good businessman.
Yeah. But seriously, like, if we can capture that essence again of, like, you know, that ebony essence that, you know, when I go to New York, I haven't been to one of these damn block parties.
Mm-hmm.
New York is that one spot that got them block parties that just remind me of what it's like to be Black. I know I've seen some block parties, whether they was in Harlem or Brooklyn somewhere.
Brooklyn, they have a lot of block parties.
Melanated, like they was sponsored by cocoa butter. You feel me? And pics, and you'll see the froze out. It's just everybody's clean. You feel me? Fresh press.
Everybody smell like cocoa butter.
Yeah, like I want that to be every day though. Like,
yeah,
like why we got pockets of sunshine, the rest is like we dull, we ashy.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? I need Black people to shine.
Yeah,
rest, like forever.
Yeah, I love that. I love Black people.
Yeah, let's bring back that nostalgia when we tap into our ancestors and we just shining together.
Yeah.
You feel me? And we have to get back to that superior love, because I think that heals us. We got everything else.
Yeah.
We in the age of technology.
Yeah.
We in the age of new science, new frontiers. There's nothing else we can ask for besides a repaired relationship with each other.
Well, you gotta come to the Brown Lounge.
I'm coming to the Brown Lounge.
Come to the Brown Lounge.
You know what I'm saying? We're going to have a high-level brown day. I'm going to wear all brown.
And I'm going to need you to say some words, because we usually have the microphone there, the live band. I'll have them do the strings, be on bass. You can say a little piece.
I might perform.
Woof.
I might perform.
He said it, y'all.
You know what I'm saying? If you get lucky, I might perform. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be...
high-level performance.
Yeah. You know, it's going to be one of the ones. So grab your lady. You feel me? Put your cocoa butter on, smell good.
Yeah.
You feel me? Make sure your hair is properly cut or braided, however you put your situation together.
Yeah.
Make sure you got your golds on, whether it's plated or whether it's 18 karat or 24, that's up to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Make sure you coming out fresh press. You might even want to starch it. You feel me? Just one time for the OGs. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Make sure the nails is done. What you get you a French press, ladies, whatever it is. You feel me? Make sure you clean, hygiene is superior, and put that on. Like you about to go meet God in heaven.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying? And you going to heaven just for a day. And he say, I want you to come as yourself. Make sure you fly. You feel me? Like pure brown decadence.
Brown decadence.
Brown decadence.
I love that.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
It's a new culture.
Yes,
you feel me? A brand new culture.
It's a renaissance happening.
It's this end of this manosphere red pill where they act like they hate women. And I'm going to tell you something. The reason why y'all the young men can't get the woman they want is because women want a real man, and they're not a real man yet.
Right.
And it's simple. The simple secret to getting any woman you want is to be a real man. Because every woman wants a real man.
Right.
The way you talk, right? The way you walk, the way you dress. Every time you see them little red balloon shows, you know what I mean? Where they be popping a balloon, and a complaint is really just saying that that's not a real man. That's all they say.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They be like,
they say, you're not dressed like a real man. Why you got your shoes, your jeans tied into your shoelace like that?
Exactly. The pants is too skinny, or the eyebrows is too, or the energy just wasn't given. That's what they be saying. But what you saying is you don't think he's masculine.
Right.
Right? And a lot of times a dude is saying, I don't think she's feminine for. He's just saying the same thing. So, like, when we teaching men how to be men, like, talk like a man, be assertive, take up your space.
Right.
Learn how to control your darkness, right? You got to be dangerous, but safe to her.
Right.
You feel me? Like, you got to be well poised. Masculinity is intellect. You got to know how to think and problem solve. A woman simply just wants a leader, meaning that Don't ask her what we gonna do. Tell her what you doing.
Right.
Provide her options.
Right.
You feel me? And when she be like, okay, thank you. Why? Because you put her in softness and ease when she don't have to overthink and logic,
Right.
which is more her masculine self.
Mm-hmm.
So she like, damn, I don't like the way I'm feeling with you, so I'm not attracted to you, which means I'm repelling you. I'm gonna go over this direction.
Right.
And stop trying to agree with women in order to appease them. Women that have gay friends don't mean that they're attracted to them. And a lot of these guys think they need to be feminists to get with the women. No. Listen, a lot of women may disagree with the things that I say, but they still attracted to me because I'm a real man.
Right.
While you over there stuck in the friend zone, wishing you was in the end zone.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to give you the game.
Right.
Be a real man and you'll get any woman.
Right.
You feel me? But you got to stop listening to these podcasts, right? That's telling you to what you need to obtain in order the woman that you get. It's about who you become.
Yeah, it's the
Not
energy.
about what you get.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I grew up with my older brother. He'll walk outside with a bummy white t-shirt on. You know what I mean? Laundry day. And he'll pull the baddest woman I ever seen. And that showed me like, man, this ain't got nothing to do with nothing but confidence.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best cologne you can ever put on.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? You spray a little confidence before you walk outside and you good to go.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? And that's what I really want them to get, because I think these young women, this is why they so short-lived, because sometimes they might like that feminine in you just because they got an ego and they see themselves in you. You feel me? It is what it is. She found a girlfriend and a boyfriend.
Wow.
You feel me? But she didn't find a man.
Right.
At the end of the day, there is no repairing relationships with our women and creating a new family future or new Black America or wherever you may think the future may be, unless the feminine in her is attracted to the masculine in you. And then they come together, and that's atomic fusion.
Balance.
That's the new sun.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about? We back in the game. So we got to make a song that represents that.
The new sun.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah. Got to put them back on quota.
I like that.
You feel me? Let me ask you. You talk about meeting Jay-Z. You talked about the album you got with Pharrell. You know what I mean? And of course, you damn near know everybody. So who was that one person that gave you some of the best advice in the game that you felt like that was some real big bro, or he was really looking out, or people never tell me this, but damn, man, I appreciate that.
Off the rip, it was Swiss.
Mm.
Swiss told me that if you wanted to attain your masters, just re-record all the music. You can have your own masters. And I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
Bingo.
And I don't want to hold you too much longer, but you know, you started in a group. You feel me? And when I used to see you in a group, you felt like you carried your own energy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Even when y'all had y'all group dynamic,
Mm-hmm.
right? It was almost, to me, right? And it's just my perception of it. Like, you got the ASAP mob and you got Ferg. Mostly because it just felt, I don't know what it was, but it could be everybody moving and you'll be still sometime. You feel me? You didn't always move when everybody was moving.
You
So
noticed that even back then?
Yeah. So I was like, he might be thinking or feeling something different than what the current vibe of everybody doing at the moment.
Right.
You feel me? So I always wondered what that was, but like, how does that feeling of like being a part of a group, which I know I've started many groups and been a part of many groups.
Yeah.
Which is powerful, number one, especially when y'all all in the same vibe.
Mm-hmm.
When you with a group, everything manifests faster because you have the collective consciousness focus. You create thought forms, and that becomes a reality much easier. Y'all vibrate.
Yeah.
You feel me? But what does it feel now, like from that moment to where you felt like, matter of fact, what was that moment you felt like this is no longer a group? This is my journey now.
It was always my journey. Even in the beginning of ASAP Mob, that was just a part of my journey to Mob. But I think that I've always been an individual that had my own self-beliefs, and once I started outgrowing like the group think and just like the moving around and, you know, people doing things that I don't agree with and everything like that, I'm like, yo, it'd be nice to have my own bus and to like, you know, tour and, you know, pick out the people that I can work with and I feel like super confident in, you know, to get jobs done and things like that. I like to show up on time. And I'm very punctual. I've had plenty of jobs before I made it in music. So I know what a schedule is. Um, I don't smoke weed, so like I'm super always locked in. Only thing for me to do is focus on the art, cause I ain't focused on nothing else. I don't have to roll up before, like I don't have to get into a mode. I come through in that mode already.
Yeah.
And I thought that I was starting to even become like annoying to them because it's just like, yo, you always pulling up like you don't want to vibe first. But
Yeah.
my vibe was just different. And it would have come to the point where it's just like just work. And it wasn't fun anymore. And I think that I had to figure out what was fun to me growing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the best part of having being a part of that group?
The best part was, like you said, that collective consciousness where we all had an idea and just so many different textures. Like you have like so many flavors. Like everybody is like iconic in their own right. Like you got Addy who has his clothing line. He's from Baltimore. You got the accent, a drawl in his verses. That added a different element. Rocky, who is like the great stylist, visionaire, and just him being able to understand a collective enough to allow everybody to be who they are and still be able to create a product from it. He was a mastermind in that way. Yams just being like the Yoda and just like having so much information. And I just love the way Yams was and like just his energy and his vibe and his fashion so much. I wanted him to be an artist. I wanted people to see him more. Nas with his fashion sense is just through this like Nas fashion sense is nuts. Like his class, his elegance, his attention to detail. 12E, he's like the Harlem kid that like put Japan on his back when it come down to like style, flavor, and all of that. We got Taiwan, the dirt bikes to the music, all of that. So it's just like, man, as a collective, that is very powerful because everybody was individuals, but we all agreed to mob. And that's what I miss. I miss like us, like just really like hitting the stage. We got All Black on, we got Tim's on, some of us got Rick Owens and Margiella's on, like, and we looking like something the world's never seen before because they never seen it before. You know, what kids are doing now is what we was doing 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And like, we was light years ahead because we was all just, we created a culture within us that then expanded to the world. So I love that.
Man, having a group is so powerful because what you do is you take these stars, right? And when they come together, the closer they come together, the more magnetic they are to each other and they form these bonds. But that bond itself is energetic and becomes magnetic. And it attracts an energy that doubles and triples and increases every time there's a new bond formed, right? And what it does is it actually creates more space, right? Because you have to think about a black hole, right? They say it's a death of a star. You think about two stars colliding. Once they come together, that space that they occupied alone no longer exists. Now they occupying space together, but that space, right, is now open. So they just created, but then now where they now exist, that form, that bond that they have together has just increased their energy tenfold.
More
and
powerful.
Now it's way more magnetic.
Yeah.
But then when you all separate, you still powerful. That energy, that residue of that magnetic energy, right? All it does is it divides the magnetism. So some people, oh, well, I was coming to the whole group for the style. I was coming to the whole group, you know what I mean, to get jiggy or whatever. Now, actually, I like this sound over here a little more, this sound over here. So it's like a tree that branches off, but it might be a tree that produces apples and oranges. You know what I'm saying? And lemons and whatever it may be. So that's why it's powerful, because imagine if there's one tree that produces all of these different fruits, man, that tree is going to be more popular than any other tree by itself.
It monopolizes the whole system, the whole world.
But we've lost groups, though. Like, what do you think happened to just that idea, that group thinking, right? Because when you got group thinking, you do the thing that doesn't bring shame to the group, so it stays together.
Right.
And when you create a thought form, essentially you create rules and structures and orders that says that this egregore that we created, which is like this idea that you generate,
right,
that if everybody follows this, it exists. So
right.
ASAP Mob became this metaphysical thing that people believe in, right? But then when sometime a death happens, right? So when Yams is not gone, that creates, the dynamic, the energy is not there.
Yeah.
And then somebody else say, well, maybe that was the person that connected our relationship to this relationship. So it throws off that entirety of what that thing was. And unless everybody follows the rules, as if the dynamic is still there, then it's destined to break apart.
Right.
Sometimes it's ego, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But like, we don't have amigos, and of course that was a death.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You talk about Bone Thugs and Harmony, we don't have that. Some members went to jail.
Right.
You feel me? We Dipset, you feel me?
Yeah.
The members are still magnetic on their own, but they not together.
Yeah.
G-Unit, no longer. The
Locks
groups
are
are gone.
together.
The Locks. But look how powerful the Locks is, though.
Yeah.
Like, the Locks had one of the biggest moments in hip hop, you feel me, during the anniversary, because what we watched was the nostalgia, that cohesiveness of what it looks like when a group is still together.
Right.
You feel me? Like, that was powerful. We almost forgot what it was like. Do you think groups will come back, or do you think it's done for that era?
No, I don't think it's done. And I think a group, who says a group's supposed to stay together forever? Like, I feel like every group is bound to, like, because the leaders change too in a group. You know what I'm saying? And a dynamic, and like, there was a time where like Jim Jones was more popular than Cameron. And Cameron had to take a seat, like, in the passenger side, and Jim was leading with Ballin, had the biggest, like, he had a huge moment where we really accepted Jim as a rapper.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, even like Drake and Wayne, like that dynamic, it was like Wayne was such a great leader. He was able to sit back and let Drake, lead.
He went to jail too, though.
Yeah, he also went to jail, but even before then, like, he had Nicki Minaj.
Yeah.
So he's such a great leader that, this is powerful than just me. Like, it's almost like having a fashion house. Like, we're going to change the faces of this house. We're going to make Marc Jacobs the face of this house, or Tom Ford, or Virgil, or, or Pharrell.
Yeah.
Like, it's not about the actual leader. It's about the actual energy that goes into it. And I think what happens with groups is people start to attain more. Like, I could only imagine, like, when Jewel started to have hit records and started to get more money, he wanted his own bus. He wanted his own thing. And Cam might have been used to the old way of doing things. So that dynamic is a power struggle. Not saying that that's actually factual, but this is what happens in a lot of groups. People want to have an opportunity to put their wings on and fly beyond. And sometimes those settings don't allow you to become more than what you already are.
It's like Dragon Ball Z. When you bring all the Dragon Balls together, the goal is done. You make the wish, and then they go back to their respective places.
Right.
But you should always be able to come back as a collective again and make another wish.
Yeah.
Essentially. Meaning that, I've been in groups to where what I didn't realize is that you have to make sure visions align. You got to know when to let people off if they stop.
Right.
You feel me? Like, all right, we're going to get to this point. And the problem is some people don't know themselves. You talked about this. You said it very well, I think. Cats come from impoverished environment. We don't know how we're going to respond when we get $1 million.
Yeah, we met them at a point.
Yeah.
We don't know what happened before that point in their life. That shaped it and molded them into who they are.
But that's why rules are so important.
Right.
Rules saying that no matter what happens, everybody has to follow these rules.
Right.
That's where you get something like a Constitution or Magna Carta. You get, religious institutions have to follow rules in order for the entity to maintain, regardless of what happened. Right? So, like, in a group, there has to be rules that are set in place regardless of the success.
Right.
Right? So when a person is kicking themselves out because they're not following the code anymore.
Right.
You feel me? And I think there has to be a vision that has to be so big that it accounts for the success.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you we got the group, we just wanted to vibe with each other. We just wanted to make music. But then the music becomes a hit. Oh, you don't have a vision for when it becomes a hit?
Right.
So have the vision set to, all right, this is what's gonna happen when it
Just
become a hit.
facilitate.
We all go get egos. We go get money. It's gonna be women.
Yeah.
We gonna respond a certain way. But the goal is we not even there. The vision got to be so much bigger. The vision got to be take over the whole world.
That's a fact.
So that everybody knows, man, we can't have no ego until we actually reach the goal. It's delayed gratification.
Yeah, I remember telling Rocky that one time, like, some of our friends that we'd be like, damn, why so-and-so not putting out no music? I wish he had just put out music.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yo, they probably was just doing it because we was doing it. Like, we was all having fun doing it. But then when it becomes something else, more about the money and having to work, and now you got to get up early in the morning to do press, it becomes another thing that they might not be cut out to do.
Right.
So that's a whole nother thing too. And then some people, like you said, you got to know what stop they getting off, because I'm going to go. Like, this is me. Like, I'm going to go until I don't want to go no more. And like, you know, some people may feel some type of way about you going, but you wanted to get off. That was your stop. So yeah, it's that whole thing too, is that dynamic. People feeling like you owe them something or whatever, just because they may have came up with a name or started something or whatever, and you're doing the work. Like, nah, we all got hands and feet. We could do this. Like, you got to work just like I work.
Mm-hmm. Nah, I think that's real. And I think that everybody should take those lessons when it comes from, you may want to start a group, but try to think as far out as possible.
Yeah.
You feel me? Because sometimes you have a plan for your group that's only 1 to 3 years, or that's only at one milestone.
Right.
You feel me? But if you say this is our 50-year plan, it's going to take you a while to get to that. And a 50-year plan means that shit got to be big.
Right.
And even let's say 20, because most people ain't going to think 50, right?
Right.
But 20 is going to feel like it's impossible. Like if you all said that, yo, ASAP Rocky going to be the biggest in fashion, we going to pay platinum hits, we going to do this. That's going to take us a while to get there. All right, cool, let's get it done.
Right.
But then when you actually get there, and you're like, yo, we did everything we was going to say we was going to do. We actually accounted for some of it as well. Yeah. Right? And then we said we was going to come together and then come up with the next plan for the next iteration and next phase.
Right.
So it just expired. The group initial idea of why it came together expired.
Right.
You feel me?
What I wanted to add too was ASAP Worldwide is a label, it's a record label. It was never a group. So like when Yams found artists and him and Rocky was signing artists, you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't intended for us to be like a boy band. We just mobbed everywhere, and we, you know, we went on tour together. But like, as soon as Ferg got a hit record, I went and I toured myself. Playboy Cardi was signed to ASAP Worldwide. I don't know if he still is, but like, he went and he did his own thing. Now he got Destroy Lonely and King Carson and all of these guys. So it was never intended to be like Boys to Men. We just wore all black, and we had a lot of similarities and a lot of common interests. So people looked at it like, damn, why y'all broke up? But it's like, I mean, you ain't asking Sony why SZA not hanging out with Ferg, and it's a label.
Yeah. So do you ever think, how did you deal with the ego aspect, right? To where when somebody's shining, right? So let's say sometimes ASAP Rocky looked like the leader of it, right? How you deal with that internal battle of being like, nah, I'm him. You know what I mean? And let somebody else have their turn, and then when your shine come, like how you deal with that in-between bridge?
I think it's just like, one, Rocky had more skin in the game. He wanted to do it first. Like, I was like, I'm a designer. Like, I'm going to make art, design, all of that stuff. And he's like, nah, let's do this. So he's the first one with the deal. He's the one who got the label deal. He's the one who signed the artist. And he's the one who had all of the relationships first. So, of course, he's going to be ahead of everybody. And, in fact, we put him on a pedestal. Yo, break open this door for us. So that's my understanding of it already. Is like,
I think that's powerful though.
Yeah, like I know how to sit in the passenger side. Like I used to go to the I used to go to meetings with him, sit down with Adidas and see how he maneuver and how he's talking to these people. I used to like even quiet time, like, yo, what is he observing? What is he looking at? Like, I'm just learning away.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? There's gigs that he wouldn't pick up that I was able to eat off of. So I knew how to wait my turn.
Yeah.
And I knew what I was bringing to the game is different. My
Yeah.
music is different. My energy is different. And it's not it's a preference thing. It's like, you know, the football players might be listening more to me than Rocky or whatever the case may be. So it's just knowing,
right,
like, who.
self-awareness.
Yeah, self-awareness. Exactly. That's what it is.
But what about the clothing, right? So you get fly, you know what I'm saying? And y'all have always been influential to the trends,
Yeah.
right? Do you think y'all was more influential than Dipset when it came to the trends?
I wouldn't say more influential. That's like, Cam got so much, like, skin in the game, like, you know, from running around with like Big L and Bloodshed and then Mace and then, like, you know, rapping the Big and was supposed to get signed to Big and and then like I could not compare myself to Dipset and Jim Jones directing the videos, and, you know, I could not, like, that's not even, I bow down to those guys.
But what about your actual cultural impact on fashion?
Oh, we got definitely like some impact for sure. Like, I mean, that's without a doubt.
I was influenced by Jewels and that. He's had the bandanas.
Yeah.
I wanted to figure out how I did that for my culture, my God body culture. You feel me? That's why when I first came out, I got the sun, moon, and stars, the crescents on.
Wow, you was inspired by that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I wanted to figure out how do I blend those two worlds. You feel me? Because I felt like the streets had a way of representing themselves, but the guys didn't have that same. You feel me?
Right.
Where I wanted to make a style. That's why all my first ones was all cotton bandanas that I had the style printed on. Wow. And I'm like, how do we make that for the gods? And I remember I first put it on, they told me it wouldn't work. And I told you else this, you feel me? And, you know, I think that design, number one, I think is such powerful. It's a language, right? Every great movement was designed.
Right.
Every great movement. And every great military and militant and conscious black man was fly.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They always stepped outside with it on, with that decadence, with that cleanliness, because they understood image and representation and how to present themselves so that you receive the message aspirational because you're receiving me symbolically aspirational.
Right.
You feel me? But yeah, I only mention that because I feel like y'all are two groups coming out of New York that had so many different fashions and trends. And number one, you got your own brand now, but y'all helped made billion-dollar brands.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if it wasn't for, you know, I say that era of hip hop from Dapper Dan, you feel me, to all of the stuff that came out of, a lot of these brands wouldn't even exist.
Facts.
You feel me? So, like, the natural marriage now with hip hop and the fashion, number one, hip hop has done more for the fashion community than the fashion community has done for hip hop.
Right.
Right. And I think that relationship needs to be maintained as that status.
Right.
Like when Tupac was wearing Versace, you feel me, showing up with Madonna and stuff like that at the, you know, fashion shows, that was hip hop influencing that.
Right.
You feel me? And same thing with Kanye West, all of the people that he made, you feel me, that was a branch from that exposure and that introduction that once worked for him. And now he's a global economy. I think that hip hop needs to maintain their status all the time. But I see you and you ain't got no brands on no more. Yeah. I see Rocky, he be talking crazy about brands.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, was it like
that's a good observation.
Yeah. Was it a tension of, man, we've been building y'all up for so long while ignoring ourselves when we could have put all this energy into something that we've produced,
right,
and could influence the whole culture, right, to something that we own.
Yeah. Well, Rocky is definitely getting some checks.
Oh, for sure.
For doing what he's doing, and for him, he might be cool with that. That's where it ends for him. A few collaborations. I get to stay a part of this conversation, and we got partnerships going on. And that's how he eats, and that's how he put food on the table for his family. For me, it's different, and I come from a different background where I went to art school and I watched my father create his own product. So that's just the way I look at it. It's like, I want to create my own stuff.
Yeah.
Like I never feel fresh when I go and I buy somebody else stuff. I'll be studying it like, how can I make this better? Or like, what can I add to this product to like, you know, how can I make it better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that. That's how I am with everything. You feel me? Like at this point in life, I really don't want to wear nobody else's brand. I mean, unless it's somebody like the homie. I'm still waiting on my gear from you, but I'm still waiting on Jaylen to send me some stuff. But that's different. You know what I mean?
But there is some brands that like I do still love, like, and I buy their stuff because it's not brandy.
Right.
Yeah. You know, it's not so many different patches and their logo all over it. And it's just good quality stuff that lasts forever.
Well, I respect quality. I respect design. I respect the art that's in it. You know what I mean? Good tech. Like when I was in Japan, they had so many dope original designs.
Yeah.
You feel me? I'm like, damn, like they really get down out there.
Yeah.
You feel me? And I bought a bunch of stuff. And then of course I'm gonna flip it into my own.
Of course.
Hey, shout out to y'all, but I gotta do everything.
Gotta bring it to America. I mean, that's what Walt Disney was doing, right?
Yeah. But you know, speaking of Walt Disney, so I went to Disney World, right? I realized what Kanye West meant when he said, you know, I'm like Walt Disney.
Yeah.
Because when you walk in,
he said, I am Walt
Disney.
He embodied the energy.
I
am Howard Hughes.
I imagine he walked into Walt Disney and he seen how they created a world around these ideas.
Yep.
You feel me? And he realized like, yo, my music is just not like something for a stage. It's not just something that's on iTunes and Spotify. Like
it's a world.
It's a world. And he was like, yo, if they can take a movie and build a set around it and, you know, that hundreds of thousands, that millions of people come to see it years later.
Yeah.
You feel me? Buy tickets, travel, get on the plane. Why can't I do the same thing? Especially if I'm a supreme creator.
Right.
And I think he realized the evolution of art right before the industry did. And that's where that disruption came. And now you see artists creating these festivals. Now you see The Weeknd with a big ass moon. You know what I'm saying? And you realize that the music just allows you to an opportunity to create an experience.
Right.
You feel me? And I think that everybody should be thinking about how are you now going to create experiences with your music?
Exactly.
You feel me? Like you got some music that I feel like you need to have an event where it's just a bunch of couches. You know what I mean? And you got a bunch of women there and they look like therapists and they got their notepads. And then a person listening to your music and then they asking them, how do you feel?
That's hard.
You feel me?
That's hard.
Like just something to where a person be like, yo, I want to go to this experience, but the experience is backed by the music.
Right.
You feel me? And that's just something coming off the top. But I feel like as the world progresses and the funnel changes from content creators, which are musicians now because you're competing with so much content.
Yeah.
When the album used to come out, wasn't nothing else going on but that music at that time. That was the event.
Yeah.
Yo, I'll see y'all later. I'm about to go listen to this album. Or I'm about to meet up with the homies for us to listen to this music.
Yep.
Now you drop an album. Now you drop it, throw events around it. Have like Tyler, the Creator, he threw a whole festival for his album. That was to me showing how you bring a whole core audience.
Yeah.
And you show the world how your core audience connects to your music.
Yeah.
And then what you're doing is you're training them to connect and respond the same way your core audience does.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter about the numbers.
Yeah.
What matters is about how do you get people connected to the music.
And keep them revisiting the music.
100%.
Yeah. You just doing activations to keep them coming back. Now that's exactly what I'm doing now. And I'm glad you brought that up. That was the reason why I painted all of the cover art and the single art to my album because our art show is coming.
Yeah.
And then with the art show, you know, all of the scenes that I'm writing about in my music is on a canvas. So, you know what I'm saying? People will actually be able to buy a Ferg art piece that they've seen throughout my album. And that's one activation. And there's going to be other things that we're going to see unfold throughout this whole like album rollout. I don't look at an album rollout like you said, where you put out the album and you just listen to it and then you just, all right, go on to the next one.
Yeah.
Now it's like, it might take you a year, 2 years to roll out an album. Like that's what Tyler, the Creator did with Call Me If You Get Lost.
That's fire. Cause some of the best album rollouts I remember them, and like that experience is stuck with me. Like when Kanye West dropped the one album and he had it projected all
on
across the world.
museums, yeah.
That's a moment in time you remember, like it was happening. I remember being at work at the time and then coming outside and seeing a crowd of people around the projection because Kanye West had his music up on the wall, or when 444 dropped and they had everybody talking about synchronicity.
Right.
And what the hell does this mean?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
if your album to me ain't dropped until you created that connection.
Right.
You feel me? Like now it's out.
Right.
Because there's so much information, we consume things fast. I mean, we got AI. You can go type in and make some music. So
type in and make a video.
Yeah. What's the human connection now to when you drop some art and the people feel it? Like for me, I know when I drop my album and it go crazy, is I'm going to have to, not have to, but I want to curate it. Right? This is like how you doing with the art. I want to break it down before you hear the song. Right? I want to over explain it.
Yeah.
So when you listening to it, all of that is into the symbol now, because the song is a symbol for what it means.
Right.
So now you feel it like, oh shit, that would have went over my head. I wouldn't have understood that until he told me.
Yeah.
You feel me? And I think that's a better process to where you need to go slower with it.
Yeah. With my album, Daryl, is definitely like a lot of unpacking with this album. This is not a, like I said, a fly by night, listen to it, and I'm gonna get it off rip. You gotta like literally, it's one of those albums you revisit. You revisit and you take it like a pill.
Yeah.
Each song you might listen to because you feeling that way and it's speaking to you. And like I said, it's gonna be different activations that's gonna align it back to the album and give you over explaining what I'm talking about in certain lyrics and really blowing it up and showing visuals about what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because it's beyond a video. Videos change. We love videos, but videos is not the same no more.
Yeah.
And people want to hang out. They want to hang out with each other. They want hubs where they could talk and converse about the project. And I think stuff like this too, like sitting down doing an interview and being able to break down my mindset and where I was at mentally when doing this album helps a lot too.
No, I think 100%. I just want artists to, number one, experience their power. You know what I mean? Like, just know who you are and what you can do. And, you know, the money is there already.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The money already exists. It's already yours. But you got to have confidence to be yourself. You feel me? And leverage your gift, right? In its maximum capacity. Because at the end of the day, you only need 1,000 to 10,000 core fans, depending on where you at. You know what I mean? And that can sustain you forever.
Facts.
You get 10,000 core fans, you feel me? That's paying you, you know, up to $100 a year.
Yeah.
You good. The problem is that you want the numbers to look like a major artist.
Yeah.
You feel me? No, followers only do one thing.
Yeah.
They follow.
Think about the soul food restaurant in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
They got all of the buildings around them. And that's what's keeping them lights on.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. But that's an independent mindset. Because like when an artist when they used to having a lot of numbers, and like you said, sometimes numbers could lie, there's a lot of fluff around who they really are and their core audience. And they can't even really super serve their core audience because there's so much fluff around. So I'd rather like get rid of the fluff and really super serve the guys who's really into the music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Or the art.
I agree 100%. And that's when you go to, your music becomes a frequency that gives people gifts. Like when I went to see it, I seen people doing mosh pits at the Billboard event that we went to.
Yeah.
You feel me? And you perform it. And I just see how people just automatically broke out, like in a sense to where they hearing new songs.
New songs.
First of all, I think when you can perform new music and it just connects with people, you got it.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Because I think the one artist I seen do that was Erykah Badu.
Wow.
Right? Because I had not known none of the songs that she was performing at the time. You feel me? But it felt like I did.
Right.
Because the experience with it. And some stuff you have to experience in person. Once by the time it's filtered to your phone on how it sounds to you and what you're doing in that moment, and you judging that song, you wasn't even in an environment to intake it, first of all. You didn't even have the right speakers with you.
Right.
Not even the right headphones.
Right.
And you judging the music. And you was busy, you got kids crying in the background, you just on the move. Like, nah, you go get art, sit down and experience it in an environment that will allow you to appreciate it.
Right.
Some art needs to be appreciated in the museum.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because amongst trash, you're not going to be able to appreciate the value.
Right.
So sometimes you're not even in the right environment. It had nothing to do with that artist. It had everything to do with your life.
Right.
You feel me? And the way I judge music and art from every artist, I think about what were they trying to do, and did they achieve that?
Right.
It's not even whether I like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
I think a successful artist achieves their goal that they wanted to present to the world.
Mm-hmm.
If they said, I wanted people to know me, and by the time people listen to this, they're more confused and don't know who the hell you are, it's trash.
You listening to Daryl, do you feel like you know more of who I am?
100%.
Without hanging out with me, because we hung out a few times.
100%. 100%. Mostly because I can hear a lot of different things in there, right? I can hear the nuances. I can hear different science you drop. You feel me? I can hear different codes. What that does is it let me know different things you're exposed to. If a person can say Maswater Muhammad, that to me means something. It means that you're connected to this lineage of knowledge, that you was exposed to it at some point in time.
Your degree.
Yeah, you can say light work, right? Just to be able to put that double entendre in there. Number one, it tells me that you're not just trying to throw a metaphor at people, you're trying to give them something. You're trying to share with them something for those who are able to hear it. And those who can't yet, you're still just putting the medicine in the candy jar.
Right.
It shows me where you at, because you could have just tried to create an album that was just about you creating a hit and the sound that you think that people want to hear, versus let me do the thing that I feel like I need to hear.
Right.
And I need to be filtered through, if you will. You feel me? I'm a high level observer though. You feel me? And a high level listener. I'm not reacting to things. I'm soaking them in. So it takes me through childhood stories. It takes me through, it wasn't that you told the stories, that you finally told the story. Because you just told me 2 other iterations that you wanted to get the story off.
Right.
It tells me you at this place in time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it tells me that, you know, I also wanted to make something that was sonically pleasing, but at the same time that had a quality message in it. I didn't want to alienate people, but I still wanted to show them that I'm mature. I wanted to make something for the ladies. You feel me? I got Mary J. Blige on there, vibing, but we still turned up.
Yeah.
I'm going to make something that's crazy talking about demons, but it's also something, man, you could be rocking to. And I could have been praising the devil in the same type of song, but I made a song with the same type of vibe that's actually condemning the things.
Yeah.
So for me, it lets me know like that dichotomy, that spectrum of an artist that you are trying to embed into the music. And every time I listen to it, like same thing with like Kendrick last album. That's what I was hearing, right? I was hearing what was selfish for him to get off his chest as an artist and what he needed to release in the world versus what he believed the world wanted to hear from him.
Right.
So you get so much information because void is an element. Not all about what you tell people, it's about what you don't say. Right? It's the when I was in Japan, they had this building and it represented these 5 elements. And one of the elements was void, right? They're big on utilizing space, right? And what that space means. So when you say 4 years, that's void, that's space. How do you fill that up? So now people are not saying that you are gone long. We're just saying there's a lot of void and there's a lot of space. Fill it up. And when you create an album that fills that space up to be like, this is what I was going through, this is who I am, this is what I was experiencing.
Yeah.
When Kendrick leaves for a certain amount of time, he has to make an album that fills the void. Right? So there's too many artists that jump ahead and they're like, the void's still there, bro. This album nice, but I don't know who the hell you is. You know what I'm saying? And you have to work into those graces of people. It's like if you leave your family, they don't know who you are. They're not supposed to. They don't know what you experienced, what you thought, what you've healed, what you've hurt. They don't know what you broke. They don't know none of that.
Right.
It's going to take some time for them to get to know you again.
Right.
It took some time for them to get to know the old you.
Right.
So I think that as we go into a new world, as the world progresses, as we go into Web3, as we go into all these different dimensions, keeping the music in closeness to where people can be bonded by it and they don't feel like it's such a void, right? I think is the key because the funnel is connection.
Right.
Stay connected, stay grounded. You feel me? And people go love whatever art you produce because they know you.
Right.
When they know you, they understand the context, right, of what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Right.
Like all this stuff, we just talked about you being in a group, talked about you juicing, meditating, fasting, you know what I mean, becoming a Buddha. You know what I'm saying? Like the Brown Girl Lounge,
The brown Buddha.
yeah, the Jaylen, like all of this it's a journey. If you really want to know an artist, you have to go through that journey with them. You feel me? And instead of us having a high level conversation, what they really could get is just listen to an album.
Yep.
And that same frequency is in all of that.
Right.
You feel me? It's just whether a person wants to get to know the artist or not.
Right.
That to me is what a really good album does. Like, and now it don't even matter. It ain't gotta be like some super vulnerable person. It could be, you know, a gangster album.
Right.
But I know how you feel.
Right.
You feel me? I
Yeah.
know what you're going through. I know how you go respond to things.
For sure.
I know where you came from.
Right.
I know what type of time you on right now.
Right.
You feel me? Like,
It was honest.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
real. Like, as long as it's honest, it's real, it's transparent, it's clear, you know, that's art.
I want to ask you a question before we end it. Are you excited for the future?
The thing about the future is nobody owns it. Nobody controls the future. It's a blank slate. When you imagine the future, you creating it. Right? Now, if somebody tells you their idea of the future and you imagine that, then they're using you to create their ideas of the future. So for me, I'm always projecting myself in the future. So how could I not be excited for it if it's me that created it? You feel me? So we got the technology, we got blockchain, we got ways to create our own banks. We can utilize DAOs, create new types of corporations. We can create music, go direct to fans if we want to. We can go globally as citizens across the planet Earth and build. We can go buy land in Ghana and create communities if we want to. Like anything we want to do, I think we just got to get back to using our imagination again. Because I feel like dreaming is at an all-time low. Because people are now afraid of what they see when they awake. You know what I mean? Instead of going in your mind. And so I'm excited as hell about the future because I believe that eventually we're going to get into this cosmic alignment. And some things that we try to influence people to do things, but some things happen by force, right? And I'm at this point where I'm not looking for unity, I'm looking for separation. You feel me? I think that unity can be toxic because we talk about having this toxic unity, but what is the quality of people that I'm unifying with, right? We never said whether these people go turn on me, right? Look at the people, like the most criticism I get is from other Black people. You feel me? Like, you think I want unity with them? No, those are my enemies. Enemies of my progress, and I wish them nothing well. You feel me? Like, so for me, I'd rather separate and have my own space. You feel me? And then bind and fortify with people that think like me, similar ethics, mission, values. Yeah, you tried. So I'm excited that the world will be forced for people to form these bonds and communities, because I've been trying to preach, let's create these teams, let's create these things, and motherfuckers don't listen. So I'm like, I'm not about to be the one constantly yelling at people who don't want to do it. I'm just gonna build it, and then they will come. And the people that come, those are my people. But then, I'm not even gonna let everybody in. Everybody doesn't deserve to go into your future. Yeah, so I'm excited as hell about the future because I think we got nothing to lose and everything to gain. Yeah.
I think we should end it like that.
That's the high level conversation.
Man, I appreciate you. You're a good guy.
Yes, sir. Likewise.
Yes.
19 keys, and this is high level conversation. Tap in with the guy.
To Sarah, how do I balance being an artist and a regular person? Well, I am a person, but I know my life is not regular. So I don't try to be regular. But normancy, I keep my family around. I have a family-ran business. My uncle is my security intel. His son is my assistant and artist. My mom helps me with my finances. My other aunt helps me with the house. So I keep a lot of family around me. And it's a very natural environment for me to be around, and they make me feel very normal. And yeah, that's how I balance it out. So this is to Jesse. What is the extent of my extended family impact on me? I would have to say, just who I choose to be around me is uplifting people. Like, even if you are my family and my extended family, you gotta be about something. Yeah, and it's major impact, down from just style, down to like my mannerisms and how I walk and talk as a man. When I think about my stepdad or my uncles or my mom, you know, her being a strong woman and being a strong single woman at the time, and understanding as a adult what she had to go through to raise me to be who I am. That has major impact because they instill that energy in me, and I'm able to project that onto others. The first step, and I feel like the only step to free yourself creatively, is to know thyself. What most people misunderstand about the power of music is that you only make music for money. And I feel like music is a very spiritual thing. It's more metaphysical than anything. And once you understand that, then you'll know the true power of music. One thing I can say that Daryl means to me as a person, Daryl the album, I would have to say, is that I'm a human. And I feel, I see, I hear, I can touch, I experience. I'm a vessel. One word, a vessel.
It's the third time I got the opportunity to meet and connect with Ferg. And he's just a very genuine person. I think one of the last responses that he had was that he's just a human being. And he may live an extraordinary life to a lot, but everything about him is genuine, authentic, and those are some of the values that we hold as well. So I think it's just a natural synergy. You know, we wanted to create an environment where there was a lot of space and highlight an artist. You know, we basically had him against the wall where Chev from North Carolina had done a high-level world painting depiction of what this futuristic kind of world looked like. And we don't have too much of Ferg in the frame for this, but we wanted to have that painting kind of illuminating that. We put some of these wood cart situations up just to, you know, throw in different elements and do something different with this one, because he is not just a music artist, but an artist overall. And I think that shined through in this episode as he talked about his, you know, history with going to fashion school and, you know, his passion for designing and seeing his father create things and seeing that around him growing up and how that shaped him in his creative eye. So definitely wanted to capture that element of Ferg, because I think that's what his album is about, and everything that he presents himself is like, who is Daryl? You know what I'm saying? And understanding that, uncovering the veil, so to speak, of artistry, which is difficult to do because people brand you as what you first come in by. They want to put you in that box of how they first met you, but I feel like he's doing a good job of breaking out of that for people to see who he is as an artist. With High Level Conversations Season 5, we have a lot of new different elements planned for it. You know, for this one, I definitely wanted to highlight the questions that we had in our high level community. They knew that we were doing an episode with Ferg, and there was a few people that had some questions, and you know, he basically addressed them directly in his response to them. So I thought that was dope that he would, you know, spend a few more minutes with us and take time to just answer what our community had. Yeah, man, we're just looking forward to the debut of High Level Conversations Season 5. And if you want to be involved, if you want to tap in, make sure you visit 19keys.com/HLC. That's where you can find all the information about High Level Conversations. And we'll see you in the community. Peace.
19 keys above 9. The execution of knowledge is power.
From a boy to a man, and ultimately back to the natural state of being, and to a God.